Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, guys. Some things have been popping off, or, not a whole lot has been popping off. I got to be completely real. Not a whole lot has been popping off, to be honest, except for this one thing that just happened. And of course, we're getting closer and closer to this deadline. A little less than 2 hours from now. There's supposed to be some sort of payment made, or something devastating might happen. So hopefully something gets figured out very, very soon. But we'll see about all that. But before we get into everything, please do me a favor. Do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them, guys. So make sure you are hitting that follow button. Also, don't forget to subscribe here to my YouTube channel right here. This is where everybody congregates for the most part. But I see you guys out there in the other platforms. I appreciate you. All right. But make sure you subscribe right here on my YouTube channel. Right here. Subscribe. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. Please and thank you. Don't forget to hit that notification bell on both platforms, so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it's random. It is really random. So make sure you do that. Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay. We have got to get into some things. Excuse me. We have got to get into some things. There is a lot. Well, something just recently happened that obviously everybody is in a tizzy about. All right. And understandably, let's be real. We are now entering. We're very close. We are a hair length close from 0 hour. Okay. 5 p.m. is coming. 5 p.m. Arizona time is coming, and it's coming very, very quickly. And the thing is that we haven't heard anything new. In fact, there are reports saying that the family has not put any money in this Bitcoin account at all. Still, from my understanding, still to this day, which is to this moment, to this actual second, no money has been put into that Bitcoin account. Now, the question still remains. Does that mean anything? Does it mean that they don't believe the ransom note to be real, or the ransom notes to be real? Are they demanding proof of life before they actually cough up the 6 bills? Really big bills. Okay. What's going on here, right? All of us want to know what's going on. Which it's wild that they were able to, it's wild that you're able to even, TMZ or media is able to look into the accounts and see if any money has been put in there at all, which is really strange. That's really wild. But that's something that people are talking about right now. That is getting out here in the streets, out here in the ether. Everybody and their mama talking about the fact that that payment has not been made yet. And then also, let's not forget, the money hasn't been paid. There has not been proof, any semblance of proof of life from the alleged abductors, okay? And of course, everybody's worried. But now, something just recently happened. Savannah Guthrie, went to her social media and she said this. We're just going to go straight into it. Okay? Let us take a look at this.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
Now, don't worry. I will play that again here in just a minute. But what say you guys on what you're hearing in this particular video? Because obviously this is a very big deal. Obviously, we want to know where Nancy is. Everyone wants to, it almost feels like everybody's been grabbed by this situation because it feels like it could be their own mama too, right? If this was their mama, what would you do? What would you do, right? So on and so forth. Everybody's feeling some type of way about this for sure, and understandably, because this is a scary thought. And it's scary that she was by herself. Someone walked in, at least from what they told us, right? Walked in and just snatched her out of the middle of the night with no trail. No breadcrumbs from what we've gathered. Now, here it is. The police probably know a lot more. Clearly know. Well, hopefully then they know a lot more. I'm hoping that they know a lot more than what they're letting off. But at the same time, you see what I'm saying? Like, hey, Chihuahua. Anything's possible, right? So it just blows my mind that this was a properly executed abduction. I hate to say it like that because I'm not trying to give it love at all. But the fact that they were able to go in and do this and leave basically, for the most part, without a trace is shocking. And that is if, and only if, what they claim is true. What the police have gathered. It all depends on if that's 110% real. The whole thing could be staged. She could have been taken at Annie's home. Anything's possible, right? Anything is possible. But like I said, it's interesting. Here's the other thing too. Okay, you know what? I'm going to play this again. I promise you guys. I'm going to play this again, and you're going to see it a billion times in all the videos that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at some things. We're going to have some conversations and whatnot. We're going to see this ad nauseum here in a second. But don't worry, I'm going to play this again by itself. But I'm going to say this, and I have to because it kind of, I just need to know. And maybe it's coming. So maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Where's Annie's video? I said it. I don't give a damn. Now, I'm side-eyeing everyone except for like Savannah and her brother. I'm side-eyeing everybody, okay? until they say, oh yeah, that person, okay, they're cleared. Okay. The only person that's been cleared that we know of so far is the damn Uber driver. That's it. The only person that has been cleared has been, at least in that last press conference we had, was the Uber driver. That's it. Everybody else. Oh, and aside from her and her brother Cameron, because he was probably flying a plane somewhere or something. I don't know. Okay. From my understanding, they were nowhere near the area. Savannah's in New York. Her brother was somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? So Cameron did a video. In fact, he did a video before Savannah did. Oh, God. That's hard facts. He was the first one to be like, hey, we're trying to reach out to you. Please reach back out to us so we can get her home. We're trying to contact you. We don't know how to get a hold of you. Can you please send something? Please, right? That was after deadline number 1 was not met. Remember that? Sup, Jerome? What's up, man? Remember that? Right? So then now we're at deadline number 2, which I just did a short about. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too, right? She just did this video. We're going to play it again, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it with my chest, okay? Where is Andy's video? And I don't give a damn if she's reading a haiku. Okay? I don't give a damn if she wrote it in the prose of a children's book. I don't care. Where's her video? Okay, I said my piece. I said my piece. We're gonna go and take a listen to this one more again. I'm gonna play one more time, and then we're gonna dissect it. Okay? With all due respect, I know some of y'all be like, why do you have to dissect it? Because I care. And I want to understand what she's saying here. So let's go.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
Okay, so you heard that, right? So we're going to break it down because to me, it sounds like which is so confusing. You have another video that we just saw a little bit ago where we're like, oh, damn. Clutching my pearls. She might not be here anymore. And that's what they believe, right? But now you hear this video and it sounds like to me that she still believes, Savannah still believes that she's still alive, which is great. It's fantastic. The second video with the fam, with the kids, didn't feel like that. It gave me the vibe of something morbid and maybe something bad happening, right? And now we're hearing something new, right? She's hopeful, which is good, which is great news. But now this is sad, though, because now it's she's turning to the public. We're going to talk about that in a second. Let's break this down one more again. And again, for those of y'all who are coming in, welcome to the show. I appreciate all y'all for being a part of the show. It really means a lot. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Let's get it to 1K really quick. Can we just get it to 1K? Just real quick, get it to 1K. That would be awesome. All right. 1K helps the show, helps us grow. Don't forget to subscribe. All right. Subscribe, follow, subscribe. Okay. Now let's play it. Let's break it down.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her.
Okay. One, for sure, they believe she is still alive, or she believes that she is still alive. And, at the end of the day, we all have no choice but to stay on the side of believing that she's alive and well. Maybe she's obviously in harm's way, but you get what I'm saying, that she's alive. Her heart is still beating in her chest, and that she's still alive and that she can still come home alive. Right. And I think that's something that we all are hoping for. Even myself, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride. But there's still a part of me that's like, I really hope that she's alive. I hope I'm right. I don't want this feeling to be wrong. Right. But here's the thing. Something really bad is happening right here.
She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation.
Okay. Let me explain to you why this is a bad situation. First off, she is now begging the public for help. They are at wit's end. They don't know what the heck to do. Right? They don't know what the heck to do. They are lost, and now they are turning to the public. The family is. Let me just repeat that again. The family is. But here's the thing that I have a problem with. Okay? The people that should be reaching out to the public right now, the people that should be doing a press conference and saying, hey, here's the information that we do have. Here are some images, if they even have any images. Here's the make of the car. Here's the license plate. Here is a photo of the guy or the assailant, the alleged assailant, walking into a Circle K. Any of those things to the public and say, public, we need your help. You know who that is? Yeah, that's law enforcement. This should not be coming out of Savannah's mouth. Don't worry. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate her doing what she's doing right now, but it shouldn't be happening right now. Law enforcement is the one that should be reaching out to the public and saying, hey, man, so we got some stills, surveillance video. Do you know this man or this assailant? You notice his gait? He has a little bit of a hitch in his step. You don't see anything weird about this guy. If you know this man, please contact local authorities. But no, we get nothing. We've gotten nothing. We've received bupkis. Why? because somebody said something that might have been true and said it on their show. And that's why they suddenly just said no more information to the public? Is that really right? That went down? Is this really what we're going to do? Is that really how we're going to ride this whole situation? Kind of messed up, don't you think? I appreciate her doing this. I'm not saying that Savannah shouldn't be doing this. She has no other choice but to do this. You see what I'm saying? But law enforcement, at least in my personal opinion, we have entered the second week. She even said it herself. They have, like she's doing her own show right now. I'm dead ass. We have entered the second week of Mama MIA. Law enforcement ain't giving us nothing. So now people are coming up with the wildest of conspiracy theories, okay? Let's be real. Silence of the Lambs is. Epstein list is. People working for other presidents is. It's getting a little insane. But I get it. Idle minds are the conspiracy theorists' plaything. Okay? It's going to run like crazy because we don't have anything. We have not been given not a damn thing. Right? And this is when everyone starts pointing fingers and side-eyeing everybody because everyone's a suspect, right? And I get that 110%. But at the same doggone time, the thing that really irks my soul, the thing that really burns my cookies is the fact that we have law enforcement and they have some information that they could put out to the public. And the public could actually help with this information. Yet they don't. They hold off that information when we are literally at the 0 hour. I don't think that's right. This is the time that I feel that everyone should be helping the public, or law enforcement should be turning to the public and saying, hey, I need y'all's help. This is the time. Right now is the perfect time to step forward and say, hey, public, here's some stills of the car. Here's what we can make out as the make of the car. Here's X, Y, and Z. Remember what happened? Remember with Brian Koberger? I call him Coco. But remember Brian Koberger and all that BS that happened with Brian Koberger? Mm-hmm. And that Hyundai Elantra, right? They're like, we're looking for a white four-door Hyundai Elantra, right? And what happened? Everybody and their mama was sitting there going, I see one here. I see one there. I see one here, right? My Lord, I see one right here. But, I'm in Hawaii, but it's here. But still, at least they were giving us some transparency and saying, hey, we could really use some help trying to find this particular vehicle. And then guess what? He eventually got arrested. He eventually got caught, and now he's rotting in prison. Don't drop the soap, bruh. But moving on, it'd be really nice if law enforcement could do the same thing. Remember what happened to Charlie Kirk? And that assailant was out there for a couple of days. And then they turned to the public, finally, after they were sitting there just scratching their heads like, well, I don't know how this man just suddenly disappeared. We just trying to figure it out, right? They finally turned to the public and said, hey guys, here's some footage of the guy. And then what happened? Mama Robinson saw that while she's rocking in her lazy boy chair, knitting. She goes, oh my word, is that baby Ty? Honey, come here. No, put it down. Come here, real quick. Yeah, put down the axe. We have enough firewood. Come on over here real quick, honey. Look at that. Doesn't that look like baby Ty? Well, my damn, by golly, it does. Right? And then what happened? Now he's locked up. Right? And of course, again, some of y'all think he isn't the guy, blah, blah, blah. That's another conversation in itself, okay? A whole other Charles Dickens story, okay, to be had. But still, nonetheless, police had to turn to the public, gave them screenshots of security cams, right? And then they were able to catch the guy. This situation, they're flipping us the bird and denying everything and saying, well, when we got something, we will do another presser. Okay? Psst. What is that? What is that? I feel bad for the family. Yes, I guarantee you, they're working tirelessly. No disrespect to 5-0, but right now is the time that they should be turning to the public. And maybe they don't need to, maybe they need to do a presser where it's like, no questions. We're not taking any questions. Here is what we have. So y'all can see, right? Here's all the information that we can give you for right now because we need your help. And that person's still at large. If that person's still in Tucson to begin with, open it up to the public. Give us a little breadcrumbs. You only have to give like a little morsel, un petit morceau, just a little tiny taste, and everybody will be fine. But it'll also give people out there a heads up and keep people looking around. And they might be like, well, damn, I did see that van just the other day down the street. Remember baby Ty? Okay? Mama Robinson's rocking back and forth in her lazy boy chair, knitting. Honey, Papa Robinson, come here. Put down the axe. The only reason why that ever happened is because they decided to release information to the public. Not everything, just a little bit. They need to do the same doggone thing here too. Period. Yes, they're going to get all kinds of phone calls. Everybody, and they, you know what I mean? Damn, I did see that white van driving down the road, and it was driven by that damn Sasquatch. You never know. You might get some fugazis, but you might get some information that could get you the person to get to Nancy so she can get home. Holding out this information, I feel, is sloppy and immature. I said it. I don't care. Okay? Just saying. We're going to go over to TMZ, though. All right? I said what I said. I'm going to get off my soapbox. All right? But TMZ just put out a video just a little bit ago. Let's take a listen.
Nancy Guthrie is still alive. That is at least what Savannah Guthrie seems to be telegraphing in her latest Instagram post. She says she, meaning Nancy, is feeling these prayers. So she believes Nancy is still out there. And the other thing that seems clear is they have reached a dead end with whoever took her mother. She says that we believe our mom is out there. We need your help. This is Monday, and the deadline is today at 5 o'clock Tucson time. And the kidnappers made it very clear in the first ransom note, which we received, the situation is dire if they are true to their words, if they don't get that ransom money at 5 o'clock today, Tucson time. We have checked the Bitcoin address, and you can see what's deposited. As of this moment, the $6 million ransom has not been deposited. Something has happened where they are at a stalemate. Because if you remember over the weekend, Savannah said, we are ready to pay. And the money isn't there. There is some reason, obviously, as to why they haven't. And it just seems like Savannah is throwing her hands up, saying law enforcement is doing everything they possibly can, but she is begging for the help of anybody, no matter how far away, for anything that could be a clue. The kidnappers, as far as we know, have not shown proof of life. Now, we have only seen the first ransom note, not the second. The second was sent to a local Phoenix television station. But it seems that the kidnappers have not done anything concrete, although there is something really interesting in the message Savannah left over the weekend when she said, we understand, referring to that first note. So there is something that the kidnapper said or demanded that Savannah is acknowledging. And then to me, the key word in that Instagram post over the weekend is the word celebrate. What did Savannah mean to say, we want to celebrate with our mother? It's an odd phrase to use in the middle of all of this. And the only thing I can think of is that word may well have been used in that second ransom note. I don't know because we haven't received the second, but the word is so out of context that I think it's reasonable to at least guess that that word was used in that second note.
Now, here's the thing. If that was used in the second note, I don't think these people are American. I said it. I don't think these. I don't think. Yeah. I really don't think that they're American. I'm sorry. Who says celebrate in a letter? You see what I'm saying? Especially when it's like, give us the money. Like, okay, when it comes to an abduction, how's that? Let's just boil it all the way down, shall we? All right. You are trying to get money. Say I know this is weird, but just ride with me. Put your turn your minds into the mind of an abductor, an American abductor. Are you saying at all in that paperwork, in that letter, in the first or second letter, are you saying any words like celebrate in the letter? Take your time. Oh, and by the way, if the person's still alive, only if the person's still alive. Are you saying, give us $6 million so you can have your mother back, so you can celebrate her life? Huh? Even I just did that and it sounded like I did. I even had an accent on that mug. Oh my God. Because it doesn't feel natural to say that as an American. Sorry, I hate to say that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be rude to any non-Americans that are watching the show. Shout out to all y'all. Some international love. Okay, but still, if you really think about it, are you saying, give us the money so you can celebrate with your mama when you have her? What? That sounds like ChatGPT, if you ask me. Okay? My friend, ChatGPT, please translate what we're trying to say to sound more American. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't that give you that vibe a little bit? Thank you so much for watching from Belgium. Your waffles are freaking fire, though. Thank you so much, Wendy, from Belgium. Appreciate it. But seriously, think about it. Think about it. Are you literally saying, are you literally saying in the ransom note, celebrate at all? If that person's still alive, that is? No. I'll tell you what. No, you're not. So if they use that language in the second letter, and then Savannah and the Guthries, okay, the Guthrie kids were all together, and they're like, okay, well, maybe we just use that. We could answer back with that code word, basically saying that we received this specific letter. You said celebrate in here, so we'll say the same thing. We just want to celebrate. We just want to celebrate with her. Give us peace of mind, right? Maybe they're following exactly what the FBI is asking them to do. But at the same doggone time, does that sound like what an American would say in a ransom note? I mean, even so, it's kind of like, sorry to go back to the Charlie Kirk thing really quick, but it's like that Tyler Robinson thing, He's like, I must retrieve my artillery and go back into my vehicle so I can go back into your arms, young furry Twiggy. Remember that? Very strange language, right? Those text messages. Maybe it is somebody who's out here saying that, writing that way, Give us the $6 million so you can have her back, so you can celebrate having her back in your arms. This seems a little not what a American would write. That's just me, though. I feel like we're a little bit more curt, a little bit more raw, more threatening, right? Give us the $6 million or your mama gets it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So to me, it doesn't sound American. It sounds foreign.
Now, she says, our mom has been taken and we don't know where. So she is kind of acknowledging that. And as we told you last Friday, that the way the ransom note, and we'll be a little bit descriptive now, the way the ransom note is worded, that they say we will bring your mother back to Tucson, meaning they're not in Tucson right now, if you believe them and take them at their word. We will bring her back to Tucson within 12 hours of the time that we receive the money. Well, if you take 12 hours and then you multiply it by 60 miles an hour, it gives you about a 700-mile radius around Tucson. And so it's basically the Western United States, if you take them at their word that they would be within the confines of that 700-mile radius. Personally, I think that there is a good chance that they are way closer. And the reason I say that is there is a connection between this kidnapper and the Tucson television market, which is a much smaller radius than 700 miles. This person who wrote it has some connection to Tucson, because the first ransom note was sent to 2 local television stations there, in addition to us. The second ransom note sent to KOLD, which is one of those 2 television stations in Tucson. So whoever wrote this has some connection. Remember, if this were just somebody who saw Savannah Guthrie on TV and said, here's what we're going to do, they probably would have sent it to NBC News, where Savannah works. This is somebody connected to Tucson, and it just feels like it's somebody who either knew Nancy or knew of Nancy, that she had a famous daughter. And that's somebody in that Tucson area. So we talked about it on Friday, but it sure seems to me that if, and I want to say one other thing, that whoever wrote this is intelligent, is articulate. And I say that because the way that first ransom note is worded, it is well structured. The grammar is almost perfect. And it is somebody who is
using ChatGPT. But okay.
Smart. And so if there's somebody in the Tucson area who noticed that somebody over the last week has gone MIA, who is smart and articulate, I don't know, that might be a lead. But it just feels like this is somebody who lived in that Tucson area, or at least the Tucson market. And it is somebody who, if you believe this letter, is within that radius right now with Nancy of the city of Tucson, Arizona. So unfortunately, it seems, at least judging by Savannah's most recent post, that they are at some kind of a dead end, because she's just now begging for everybody's help as the clock keeps ticking.
I'm going to tell you this. Okay, I agree that they're basically at wit's end. They have no idea what to do, and I think that they don't want to spend that $6 million. This $6 million, man, it's a lot of money. $6 million is $6 million. All right, have mercy, that's a lot of money. So I'm sure they don't want to give out that money, especially on top of this. They don't have any proof of life yet. There has been zero proof of life. Where is proof of life? They're asking for $6 million on a women of prayer on the assumption that the mama is okay, that Nancy is all right. You realize how bad that is. You realize how frustrating that is, right? And you realize how much there's hesitation on that, because again, they could send out $6 million and whoever they sent it to going to take that money and run. Now, it depends on, if that account can be traced and if they can actually catch that person and, and obviously arrest them, whether or not they're getting scammed or not. No matter what's looming over their head is whether or not to pay $6 million in the next hour and 18 minutes from now. I'm not kidding. An hour and 18 minutes left till deadline. And they have to fork over $8 million. Sorry, $6 million. I'm sorry, $6 million. Or their mama might die. Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Where is Jack Bauer when you need him? But I'm just saying. Pretty insane, right? So again, they are literally at wit's end. They are completely lost. They're scared. They, of course, want to they want this figured out. There has still been no proof of life. Zero proof of life, y'all. Which is absolutely terrifying, if you ask me. And now they're turning to the public, which, by the way, this is something that should have already been happened by police. Do you really think that the police and FBI really want them to pay $6 million right now? They definitely don't want that to happen. So think about this for a second. The fact that law enforcement hasn't said, okay, we're at 0 hour. We need to make this happen. We need to release something. We're at the tail end of this situation. And I get it that it's a sensitive situation. If they put out something that's too damning for the particular abductor, the abductor could do something very devastating to Nancy in retaliation and all that. But at the same time, now is the time. Like this whole day, first thing this morning should have been a full-on press conference saying, hey guys, here's some footage. We need y'all's help. Help us now. Okay? But they didn't do that. And now we're at an hour and 16 minutes away from the deadline. It's going to be a huge gamble. Do they pay it? Do they not? Is it a hoax or is it real? I'm starting to feel that it might be a hoax. We're going to talk about that in a second, and that pisses me off. I will be honest. I don't like saying that out loud, but this might be a fugazi. But let's continue, guys.
Guthrie with the new post on Instagram, shaky voice looking directly into the camera, into her phone, saying her family's desperate, that they're living a nightmare. The ask is simple. She wants her mom home. Again, listen.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her.
Bingo.
She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton continues his reporting. He's been at Nancy's home in Tucson. Again, as we say every time we see one of these videos, hard to watch, but it's the newest development ahead of this reported deadline, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible to watch. Every time you see Savannah, it sort of brings home just how awful all of this is. And at least me, I can't help but think of my own mom and if I was in this situation and just how terrible it must be. And the fact that she said wrote down what she said, we are in an hour of desperation and we need your help. And that really seemed to be the theme of the entire video, which has me wondering, do they not know much? Is this case turning cold? With this deadline approaching, is it possible that this ransom and these letters may not even be real? Are these, which has been a theory we've talked about all along, Connell, these could just be people who were trying to take advantage of the Guthries. Yeah, there were some details in there that I'm told were very convincing, but were they things that you could have figured out by looking at the outside of the house? It's possible, and it seems like based on Savannah's message, they want people's help, not only, like she said, from the Tucson area, but all over the place, which makes you wonder if maybe they're not making as much progress behind the scenes as we had hoped.
Did you read anything into the fact? I mean, maybe I just looking at the way she was delivering it. The last video, it seemed like there was a piece of paper on the ground she was reading off of. A lot of people talked about coded language. This seemed more personal. It seemed just like her talking to camera. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it did seem a little different.
100%. I thought the same exact thing when I watched it. I also thought, the last video was just, she was so drained, which you can imagine. And same with the first video and the way they're sitting. They almost look like hostage videos, the way that they're sitting there. And you can tell that they've had just the life sucked out of them. I got the sense today with this video, almost like she's pressing forward in a sense and really trying to engage people to help. She said it several times in the video. And, almost like, she's going to take matters into her own hands in a sense. I'm sure the FBI still helped her craft this video, but you're right. It felt much more like she was just speaking if you watch the Today Show, if you follow Savannah, it felt more just like her, and less like it was some kind of crafted message that the FBI had helped with.
What about where you are? Has anything changed? Has been any kind of activity, or have things been pretty quiet around the home or homes today?
It's been quiet. It's been very quiet. There's been no activity at all. There's been no activity at Annie's house. The other daughter, I was just over there. They've got private security outside both houses. We've got our live drone up, which is great because we can keep an eye on everything that's happening, because when they do show up, it's very difficult to see what's going on without the drone. So we have a live drone up pretty much all the time now, which you can see there. But there's been nothing so far today.
Thank you for watching.
Jump scares. So as you, clearly everyone's sitting here like, what's going to happen next? Once it hits 5 o'clock Mountain Time, which is literally an hour and 10 minutes from now, what's going to happen? Is there going to be some sort of letter that's sent tonight or first thing tomorrow? If they don't pay the $6 million, you see what I'm saying? It's really a scary thought if you really think about it, because as TMZ has reported, and I think this is important too, the fact that this account has not been filled, at least as of the reporting of when they reported this particular article, right? This is scary stuff, y'all. No transactions in the Bitcoin account. Okay. And as this deadline continues to push forward. So Bitcoin account allegedly set up to accept funds in exchange for Savannah Guthrie's missing mother, Nancy, is still sitting empty. This was as of Monday morning. Maybe things have changed since this morning, but at the same time, I don't think that they're going to pay it, though. I don't think that they will. The reason why I say that is because Savannah just did a video that just got posted about an hour, almost 2 hours ago, right? Probably a little bit more than just 2 hours ago, but you get what I'm saying. She put out a video. She clearly was like, hey, public, help. We need help. You seen her anywhere? You know anything? This is the last ditch. This is our last effort to try to find her, right? And I know she's rich. I know that she's got money. But at the same time, it does make you wonder, you know what I mean? Will she pay it? Will they actually pay it? Will NBC front her the money? Think about that too. Will NBC front the money? But the fact that she's saying it out loud like that, it's almost like, okay, last effort before we have to pen or transfer 6 million hard-earned dollars into this Bitcoin account in hopes that it retrieves our mother, right? It's crazy. Over the weekend, Savannah and her family responded to the ransom message saying that they will pay and the $6 million demand to have their mother returned to them. The alleged note requested payment by last Thursday, but it also listed a second deadline of 5 p.m. local Tucson time. Now, what's interesting about this is I just figured some things out, or, just found out, and I did it as a short, that the reason why they had two different deadlines. One, they had one on Thursday at 5 p.m. And that was for $4 million in Bitcoin. 4. Okay. And then they said, and if you don't make that deadline, the price will go up. And it will be $6 million by Monday at 5 p.m. And if you don't pay that one, that's the last time you'll ever see your mama. We are done. It'll be $6 million for her life, or she will lose her life if you do not make this deadline. So you got an hour and 7 minutes left for them to fill up this Bitcoin account in hopes that they actually pay that amount. And then in hopes that it will bring Nancy home alive. So it's unclear how long it typically takes for accounts to actually update. But as of now, the confirmed balance in the publicly viewable account stands at $0 with no transactions recorded. So on Sunday, the Pima County Sheriff's Department said the investigation is ongoing and they have no suspects or persons of interest in the case, which is strange. Also on Sunday, investigators were seen searching a septic tank, which we already saw yesterday, behind Nancy's Tucson home. As you know, we already know she was reported MIA on February 1st, okay, after failing to show up for church. And her daughter and her husband were the last ones to see her just the night before. Now, what's interesting about this too, because now I'm getting more information and more understandings of things. I do want to share this information with you guys as well. So they might be saying this for a reason. Remember when I said, hey, why are they saying celebrate, right? Yeah, they want to celebrate her life, but they want to celebrate her birthday. Her birthday was January 27th. So only a few days before she actually went missing, guys. Just so y'all know. Her birthday is January 27th. I repeat, her birthday is January 27th. Therefore, that's the reason why they wanted to celebrate with her. And maybe that was something that was said in the ransom note, but at the same time, let's be real. Celebrate, I don't know. It just seems a little bit odd to me, right? But her birthday is January 27th. Here's the other thing too. You could Google that. So it's not like it's a situation where they were like, don't you want to celebrate her birthday, as proof that they have her or something like that? You can Google that, baby. Okay? You can do that. You can Google. Shout out to the Aquariuses in the house, okay? Shout out to all you Aquariuses. But at the same time, look at that. Ain't that something? So that's why they were saying, hey, we want to celebrate with her. Because her birthday was January 27th. And then 4 days later, she ends up MIA. Crazy, right? So what was said in that, what the hell was said in that ransom note? But I still find it weird to be like, yeah, so you can celebrate her birthday. It just seems weird to me. Okay. It's just, to me, the way that they spoke, it sounded like they wanted to retrieve her body. That's how I interpreted that. But you never know. You know, it ebbs and flows. You know, one moment they think she's gone. The next minute they think she's still alive. The 1 minute they're going, it's over. The next minute they're like, no. It's not over. Right. We're going to keep fighting. We're not going to give up. And I think that's what's going on here too. Right. So this is very odd. Very, very odd. But we are going to continue on and looking at a few more things here. Okay. Let's take a look at this.
Thank you, guys. And here we go on a Monday morning. This is a critical moment. The search for Nancy Guthrie, missing for more than a week. The message the family is now sending to their mother's captor with a purported second ransom deadline said to be only hours away. So here we go. Good morning, everybody, wherever you are. Hope you're waking up with us today. I'm Bill Hemmer, waking up today in Northern California, the morning after Super Bowl 60. We'll get to all that stuff and take you behind the scenes throughout the next 2 hours. But good morning from California, Dana. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm Dana Perino, and this is America's Newsroom.
Yes.
Did you even go to sleep last night?
Maybe 2.5 hours.
Okay.
But listen, it's worth it. Dana, I tell you every time, it is the place in America once a year where everyone is happy with a smile on their face as they go into the venue. Depending on the outcome, a lot of those moods change, but it's just a great American moment. We're going to show you that coming up momentarily.
It absolutely is. Okay, well, we look forward to all of that. More to come on that, but let's get you to the news. Here is what we know on day 9. Police have not identified a suspect in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Yesterday, investigators returned to her home where they were seen searching a septic tank and a manhole cover.
Yeah, you wonder what those clues might be. We'll check that out momentarily with our expert. The FBI is saying the second deadline laid out in a purported ransom note is said to be later today, 5 o'clock local time in Arizona. That is 7 o'clock in New York. Now, of interest.
So I'm going to skip ahead because, it's a lot of stuff we've already heard before. But here's the other thing, too. You know what I'd really like to hear from? More than ever, I'd really like to hear from the FBI. I'd really like to hear what they got to say about this. You know what I'm saying? I'm at that place right now where I just don't like what's been going on, how they've been treating things, etc. I just really would love to hear some posts or something from FBI, but let's continue.
Her vehicles have been identified. No scheduled press conferences. If any significant developments occur in the case, a press conference will be called, as Alicia just said there. What do you make of the septic tank, the visit to the Circle K Convenient Mart? What is important for you right now, James, as you go back over the 48 hours this weekend?
Yeah, Bill, I think it's all part and parcel of the conduct of an investigation that has defied gravity for so long. It just doesn't make sense from so many parts of what traditional kidnappings typically entail. Again, going back to the Lindbergh baby kidnapping or Frank Sinatra Jr. or even Patty Hearst. Is this for profit? Is it for revenge? Is there an ideological bent to this? And that has not been stated or released yet. Bill, I think this is just a law enforcement team, the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Office, that is turning over every stone, following exhaustively every lead, literally going down rabbit holes. And sometimes that's what you have to do. I won't criticize them for going back to the house. I criticized them last week for releasing the crime scene so early. But as was pointed out at the top of this hit, there's a lot of work ongoing behind the scenes on digital imagery. That stuff takes time. Was it a proxy server? Was it an IP address that was masked by VPN? Things like that take time to kind of grind through. And Bill, I think that's what they're focused on right now.
Okay, all right, James, we can take that deeper a bit later in our program, but I can tell you what we were all talking about on Saturday out here in California. It was the language of the video message late on Friday night. We will pay, and we want to celebrate her. Can you give us an understanding or an interpretation as to what goes into that?
Sure, if you listen to the 3 messages that have been released by the family, Bill, and they're heart-wrenching. You see a family, at the end of their rope, literally beseeching the captors or the abductors to please release them. Bill, I'm still not certain that these notes, this messaging and communications from these so-called abductors can be authenticated yet. And there's a lot to this at the FBI, the Behavioral Analysis Unit, as well as the Crisis Negotiation Unit, are trying to assist the family with. Remember, we in law enforcement cannot compel a family to act in a certain way or tell them that they have to do this. It's all up to them. And Bill, here's the chilling piece of this. We're hurtling towards a deadline right now, 5 o'clock, right? Which is the second deadline that's been laid out by the supposed kidnappers. I don't even think paying the ransom money would be dispositive in this case. Could these be fraudsters? Could they be opportunists? And I think that's what the family and law enforcement is having to be forced to deal with right now.
Now, one of the things that they are saying right now, a lot of people have been picking this out, and I even did it as a video this morning, and I thought it was interesting. The fact that they're saying that there was something that was said in the letter. One of them said, 6 million USD, like $6 million in US dollars, right? USD, which is weird, right? Like, again, this is not someone like, I feel like if it was somebody who's an American, they would just sit there and say $6 million. That's it. But they said 6 million USD, $6 million USD. Just find it strange, right? It's not like they said 6 million yen, Like, you really think that we're going to pay you just in rubles? Like, like clearly, but still it was written USD. That's weird. That is weird. Again, Chat GPT much? And possibly not American? These are questions that I have. I don't know. I feel like the ransom letter is not real. Like, I think they're fake. I think just like that dumbass Derek Kayea, it's just opportunists that are just trying to get money.
All right, 2 quick last questions here. What's more significant, the first deadline or the second? Or do we get a third possible?
They make no sense. And here's why, Bill. Typically in a kidnapping, if it follows typical protocols, there are multiple deadlines set when the kidnapper wants to show how serious they are. If you do not comply with the first deadline, you will receive negative consequences. And those, you can think about all the awful things that could happen. In this instance, where there doesn't appear to be any negative consequences, we're still not 100% certain that Miss Guthrie is alive because there's been no proof of life. And yeah, Bill, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an additional deadline. Somebody's either playing this out because A, they're trying to mask the fact that they do not have her, or they're just trying to lead the family on and try to get any money out of them that they can.
Wow, so cruel. The other point that was brought up was that the first message apparently had a request for Bitcoin, and the second message said a US dollar amount, which has led a lot of people like yourself to think about maybe this coming from outside the country. Right now, we at least do not know that. James, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, I mean, there's no proof of that, right? There's no proof of it, whether it's being, somebody from outside the country that's just trying to see an opportunity. Like I talked about in my pop-up video about the US dollar thing. I even said myself, it's like, it's almost as if that old chainmail email where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a prince of this particular foreign land. I need help with money. You send me $1,000, I'll give it back to you 10 times over. You know what I mean? Like that kind of crap, like, those fake emails that you might be getting from like PayPal or Amazon or any of these other places where they're like, oh, we see somebody try to buy a computer using your PayPal account. Please click on this link or call us here, right? And then you call only to find out that it's just a bunch of scammers, right? So again, this could very well be that same situation. Somebody's seeing this as an opportunity to try to make some serious money, which can be it's dumb, if you ask me, and disheartening and messed up, because that means there are people going out of their way to make these people who are already having the worst days of their lives, they're making it even worse, because they're making them look this way instead of them focused on what's going on over here. You see? And that is disheartening. So if this ain't real, let's continue.
Hi there, everybody. Just enter. We have felt somehow as dark as there. It's working. Your help. See.
Ahead of this deadline. That's just the new video from Savannah Guthrie, the daughter of Nancy Guthrie. And she said there's still hope out there that Nancy Guthrie potentially could get returned. Lauren, I believe that's the first time you're seeing it. What were your big takeaways? What did you hear there?
Wow. So yes, that was my first time seeing it. And I jotted down some reactions. Number one, she's wearing makeup, it seems, for the first time in over a week. And perhaps that means she got a little bit of rest. I am speculating maybe she found something out that sort of caused her to just let her mind and body rest and give her a chance to take care of herself just a bit. But I also noticed that, she said, we are entering another week of this. Nothing like I'm hoping this is the last day of this, because, in pretty much an hour, the money is supposed to be posted. And not only that, in the ransom note, they said, at least to TMZ, that once the money was posted, they'd have Nancy back. I believe it was within the hour. So Savannah's kind of talking like that is not going to be an option at all. I don't know if you caught that as well, but now I'm kind of like, okay, it seems like the ransom note has nothing to do with Nancy's return.
Yeah, I feel like, shout out to Lauren Conlon. She's, been she's a friend of the show and all that. Shout out to Lauren Conlon. But, it's great seeing her doing her thing on other platforms. I kind of agree with her on this, that maybe something else is going on behind the scenes. Hence the reason why it's almost like they're back at the drawing board. Maybe they realize that maybe they realize that the ransom notes are a hoax. They're not real. Maybe that's what it is. And maybe that's why she's like, okay, now we need your help because we're entering the second week. We need your help. We can't sit here and just wait for a miracle to happen or for things to just kind of drop in our laps. We got to get this thing figured out now, right? So interesting take. Let's continue.
She also said somehow and some way she's feeling these prayers. I feel that, if someone is praying for you and you are asking for prayers here, that we would assume the person feels the prayers. I'm not going to say, somehow, some way she's feeling them. You pray for this person because they will feel them. And I think it's grim. I do. I think it's grim, Andy. I'm sorry to say.
And obviously, this is the first time I'm seeing it as well. And you also note the fact that she is alone. Potentially, she's not alongside her siblings, Annie and Cameron, unlike the other two videos that we've seen from Savannah. And of course, that obviously notable, but this one may be potentially a little bit more off the cuff, speaking to anyone out there asking for tips in this way. You mentioned the grim nature, and just by the fact that she realizes that this deadline is consequential. Does that really reiterate that fact that this 5 p.m. potentially ransom deadline is so very important?
I didn't get that from her. I don't know if you did. I didn't get that. I again would go back to the note saying if they post this money, which Savannah had said yesterday or the day before, excuse me, we will pay. Why did this video not say, hey, we're going to pay within the hour, so make sure you return our mom? That would seem to be the most obvious thing to say here, and that wasn't said. So now, listen, talk to me in an hour. I might say something different, but as of right now, I am thinking that the ransom note has nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie.
And I can see what she's saying here. I get it. I see it. I see what she's saying there. Because it's like, hey, real talk. Send her home, right? Send her home. We're about to send the money. Just to give you a heads up, be not worried about whether or not those financials are in that account. They will be in there. We're about to do it. So get ready to drop off my mama. But that didn't happen. She's reaching out to the public and saying, public, help us. If you see anything, you know anything, please speak up. So on and so forth. So very interesting that she says that. Very interesting. Good point. Good point, Lauren. Good point, Lauren.
They are law enforcement trying to piece together all of this information to see if it works together. Savannah Guthrie there posting that on social media. Lauren, any other parting words, anything else? Because obviously you mentioned the ransom note potentially not really tied. That would be interesting as you kind of point out. Anything else you want to let our audience know before I let you go?
Well, I just want to say that someone has already been arrested in California for falsifying a ransom note. And I hope that if this is true, these people are prosecuted to the fullest, because this is straight up emotional torture. And that is not okay.
Yeah, a very, very good point. Obviously, they're arrested there in Los Angeles, and they did it through some forensic digital evidence. And it's interesting how we haven't really had any leads on any of these other ransom notes, whether they're hoaxes or real. So no really kind of leads in that way. All right, Lauren.
That's a good point. She made some very, 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 very good points there. I agree. I feel like there would be a lot more, without question. I feel like there'd be a lot more being said in the video. Not saying that the video isn't, the video could literally just be her going, hey, I'm about to drop $6 million. All right. On something that I don't know if it's real. So this is just going to be my last ditch effort to just be like, hey, anybody else know any truth or anything? Has anybody seen anything before I drop this $6 million into this random account by somebody? I don't even know who it is. And we don't know if it's real. Like, I get it. It's kind of like, it's like that, it's like, oh man, I'm about to buy this thing. Oh dear Lord. I shouldn't have gotten it. I shouldn't get it. Should I? No, I shouldn't get it. Babe, should I get it? Really? You know what I'm saying? It's that fear, like, you know what I'm saying? It's that fear of like swiping that card and it's going to be a big chunk and you're going, oh, how am I going to recoup that money back? Damn. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of money and it's a lot to consider, especially on a women in a prayer, right? Especially on a women of prayer. Let's continue. Breaking news.
I'm Elizabeth Schulze in Washington, and we begin with breaking news. Savannah Guthrie posting a new video to social media just moments ago, asking for the public's help in bringing her mom home. We are going to play the full video for you right now.
Hi there, everybody.
I'm going to skip ahead.
I wanted to come on and
ransom by someone claiming to be her kidnapper. Joining me for more on this is our ABC News chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, on the ground in Tucson, Arizona. Aaron, we just heard another heartbreaking message from Savannah Guthrie asking the public for help. What are you learning? What are your takeaways at this hour now?
Oh, it's impossible to listen to Savannah Guthrie's latest post, Elizabeth. She calls it her hour of desperation. And I think it reflects that the family doesn't know anything. There are no suspects. There are no people of interest. There are no vehicles associated with the case. There's no video that the authorities seemingly have recovered. There's nothing to say whether Nancy Guthrie is even still alive. And so I think all of that is reflected in what Savannah just posted on her Instagram account to say, we need everyone's help because the last 8 days have turned up nothing.
Gut-wrenching, as you say, to hear. Aaron, we know that in the last few days, investigators have returned repeatedly to the home of Annie Guthrie, Nancy's other daughter. Any details that we know about their findings there? As you point out, at this point, we don't have any leads.
And I think there's a couple of things about that search, because a lot apparently has been said about going to Annie Guthrie's home. They showed up. This wasn't a warrant situation, Elizabeth. They went there, it's all voluntary, and it's natural to think they would search where Nancy Guthrie was last seen. And they've been retracing their steps at that house, at this house, Nancy Guthrie's house, to make sure they've collected all the physical evidence possible. The FBI did not accompany the sheriff's deputies when they returned to Annie Guthrie's house. If they were really there in furtherance of any kind of an arrest or a suspect, that would likely be different. So I think what we've been seeing in recent days with some of the law enforcement activity, towing a car, checking out the cameras on the roof, is meant to retrace steps and make sure nothing was missed.
Anything you can tell us about a possible vehicle of interest? We've heard some about that as well, Aaron.
That was a vehicle that may have been spotted on not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, in that 45-minute window when the authorities believed that Nancy Guthrie was taken here from her home. They went to a local convenience store to have a look at some surveillance video. Whether that's proved fruitful, we don't really know, but the authorities have gone out of their way to say there are no vehicles of interest right now associated with the case, Elizabeth.
Aaron, know that you are following it and watching that video along so many of us as we continue to follow this. Aaron Koturski in Tucson, Arizona. Thanks so much, Aaron. Let's bring in our ABC News contributor and retired FBI agent Richard Frankel for more. Richard, we just got this new video from Savannah Guthrie, a heart-wrenching plea saying she knows her mom is still out there. What do you make of that communication from Savannah, that post that she just put out?
In my opinion, they're doing this, and she's doing this to keep that empathy, that realization that Nancy is a human being, that she's loved by all, and that Savannah and her family just want her home. They don't want there to be any empty air on that. They want whoever the hostage taker is to know that Nancy is loved and wanted home. It's almost like when we used to talk into closed doors. You don't know if anyone's on the other side, but you keep talking because you have to talk to it. You have to just keep that communication open until you know one way or the other what happened with Nancy.
We know that there is a deadline of today for ransom. Does that deadline factor at all into the timing of this video and the type of communication that the family is putting out right now?
Yes, I believe so. From my hostage negotiation time, we always wanted to make sure that we were talking with the hostage takers in that time around any deadline, because you want to keep that communication open. You want them to know that the family cares, that law enforcement cares, that law enforcement, the goal is to keep that person alive and have that person returned home. And so you want to keep going through the negotiation deadlines so that you're not focused on deadlines, you're focused on the return of the person who was taken.
Yeah, Richard, you have extensive experience with these hostage negotiations. Why, in a lot of these videos, do we see the Guthries address that suspect, that person, kind of directly, making that direct plea? What's the motivation there?
It's to make sure that they understand that, Savannah and her family are caring members of a family, and that they want to emote that empathy on to the hostage taker. They want that hostage taker to also feel that empathy towards Nancy, if in fact he does have her. And you have to keep that type of emotion going, because what you don't want it to be is a cold business deal. You want it to be about a human being, somebody who is loved by their family, and the family wants them home.
And you can so feel the emotions in those videos. Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if by them doing these kind of videos, it's going to make, get to the soft spot of these abductors. I really don't. But wilder things have happened. Definitely wilder things have happened. I know that JLR is out there as well. I know his footage is kind of grainy, but I wanted to check it out and see what's going on in his neck of the woods. This is outside Nancy's house too. Oops.
Well, we'll continue to wait for this deadline, folks, out front of Nancy Guthrie's home. JLR investigates. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're getting close to about 30.
So yeah, we're a few minutes, well, not a few minutes, but we're almost a half hour away from the deadline. And I know that everybody watch in the next 30 minutes, watch all of these lights, all of these things start going off. Like they're all going to be running to their positions, getting into their spots, because obviously 5 o'clock their time, you know what I mean? It's going to be, time to report the news. But everybody's waiting for this moment. Everybody's waiting for what's going to happen next. Is there going to be a payment made? Is there going to be some sort of transaction? Will she just suddenly randomly get dropped off at a street corner somewhere, right, where she gets picked up? That is if she's still alive. Hopefully she is, right? But yeah, we got about 36 minutes left until until the deadline is met, and then everything goes from there, right? So we are still waiting, right? We are still waiting. Hopefully something will be figured out. But let's take a look at Megyn Kelly interviewed or had a conversation with Brian Entin, and I know that he has a bunch of videos that we're going to take a look at as well, but I wanted to see what she was asking Brian Entin. So let's take a look at this.
Saturday night, what happened at Annie's home?
Yeah, Megan, it kind of came out of nowhere. I was over at Nancy's house, which is about 10 minutes away, and I got a call like something's going down at Annie's house. So I raced over here. This is Annie's house behind me. And when I got here, there were 3 deputies that had just arrived. They have private security here. NBC hired private security, I'm told. And it seemed coordinated because the security guard just moved out of the way, let the 3 deputies in, and they had blue gloves on. They had some camera equipment that was in a case. They went inside and they were inside for 3 hours. They closed all the blinds. I could see them taking pictures. Yeah, there you go. Right. That's some of the stuff they brought out. I could see them taking pictures in the garage. You could see a flash from a camera, and then you could see them move throughout the house to other parts of the house because you could see the flash from the camera coming from around the blinds.
I also want to say this really quick. They said that they didn't need a search warrant to go into Annie and Tommaso's home. Tommaso and Annie both were like, go ahead, have free reign to do whatever you need to do in the house. So that's what they did. So it wasn't like they needed some sort of search warrant to get inside the house or anything of that sort. They relinquished the home to 5-0. And then 5-0 went in there and did all their stuff, spraying stuff, taking photos of things, etc. Because, let's be real. This was the last place that Nancy was at before she went home and before she disappeared. Just remember all that, too. Let's continue.
And it took about 3 hours?
Yeah, they were inside for 3 hours, and then they packed up and they left. They didn't say a word. And NBC is reporting today that it was consensual, that I guess it was worked out with the family that they were going to show up, which really doesn't surprise me because, again, it didn't seem, it seemed like they knew they were coming. The security guard moved out of the way. They knew how to get into the house. There's no one at the house right now, so they went in on their own. And it all seemed like very coordinated.
Brian, where's the family?
It's a good question. We don't know. They were here. Savannah was at this house early last week with her sister, her sister's husband, and Cameron was here also. And this is where they filmed the first video because we saw them bring the ring light and the tripod in. And somehow they left without anyone really noticing. And it's interesting, there were more security guards here specifically hired by NBC when Savannah was here. There were 3 security guards. And then when she left, now there's only 1 security guard just sort of keeping an eye on the house and, telling people to stay back.
Well, it's interesting to watch NBC in the mornings on the Today Show to see what they're reporting on this case, because there's no question in my mind it will have been blessed by Savannah. There's zero doubt that they are asking her, are you comfortable with this? Are you okay? They would not want to upset her or get out ahead of their skis or go someplace where she didn't want it. And they were the ones who broke the news that the search of Annie's home was consensual as opposed to, via search warrant. So to me, I'm deducing, though I can't confirm it as an independent fact, that she doesn't want it looking like her sister or anybody living in that home, like the brother-in-law, are in any way in trouble. But that does not jive with Ashley Banfield's reporting about them considering Annie's husband, Tomas, and that he may, quote, be a prime suspect in this case. We're still investigating that too, Brian, and whether the brother-in-law is coming under the scrutiny of law enforcement. And all I can tell you is that I have reason to believe Ashley Banfield was onto something. I don't know that he did this, but I do believe her reporting that they are taking a very serious look at him. And he's been out of the picture. I mean, he has not been in any of the videos.
One of the very, 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 very few times I agree with Megyn Kelly. Oh my God. Thank you. Somebody finally said something. Finally. Somebody else is saying it. Where is Tomas? Tommaso. Where's Tommaso? Tommaso. Where's Tommaso? Where's he at? We haven't seen him at all. He's been mentioned once by Ashley Banfield. And then all of a sudden, poof. And there was a photo of him, but he's covering his face and he's driving the ride. And then he just disappeared. Now, I'm not sitting here going, paparazzi, go and harass and stalk him. No, I'm not expecting y'all to do a damn thing. Please leave him alone. But at the same time, where he at, though? Where he at? That's weird, right? Because everybody started side-eyeing him as soon as Ashley Banfield said what she said. And I believe her. I do. I'm going to be real. I know some of y'all are like, she sucks. I think she does great work. And I think she found out some information from a very reliable source. And this tells you, this explains, this tells you how much we know that how on it she is. Okay. The fact that you have the sheriff, Nanos, getting all up in his feelings and retracting everything he has said. Everything in that last press conference. All he did was gaslight and just walk everything backwards. He deleted everything that he's ever said to the general public. And he's like, nope, I don't remember. Nope, I didn't say that. Who said that? Who said something about there being forced entry? I didn't say it. Who said anything about this, that, and the third? Pfft, it never came from me. When it did, every time. Okay. But now, because Ashley Banfield, I think, was onto something, he got in his fifis. And he's like, damn it, she's going to ruin the whole thing. And I'm trying to be the hero here. Damn it. Dadgummit. And that's when he said, hey, I'm not telling you anything. No. F all y'all press. F y'all. You know what I mean? Go kick rocks. Go read a book. You know? Go fart in the flowers. See you later. I'm done. And when we have another press conference is when I say so. When we have something to talk about. So this is the last one. So I think Ashley Banfield was pretty on top of it. And then the sheriff got mad because there was a leak within law enforcement. Oh, and the FBI, by the way. Okay? Yeah. So that's what's happening. That's what I truly think. I think she truly was onto something. And that's why you saw his reaction at that press conference, which was trash. And all he did was make us look like the fool. He tried to make media look like idiots. When in actuality, he was the one going out here going, she was snatched out of her bed. And we're all like, what? Actually, that was a turn of phrase. That was a turn of phrase, guys. Sorry. That was a turn of phrase, everybody. She wasn't literally snatched out of her bed. You know, I get a little crazy when these cameras are on. Sorry. That's what the sheriff did. The sheriff said that. She was snatched out of her bed, everybody. And everyone said it. And then he says, no. It was a turn of phrase. It was just a saying. Huh? So what is true and what's not? See what I'm saying? This is the hell. This is our nightmare, everyone. And it's all because someone was getting on the ball. Somebody was getting on top of the case and revealing truth. I believe. And it got the police and it got this sheriff and his fees. That's what I truly think. Okay. So I really believe Ashley Banfield. And I think that's the other reason why you ain't seen not one, not even a leaf of tomato. Get it? That was a terrible joke. Yeah, that was not a good joke. But you get it because his name's Tommaso, and it sounds like tomato, and you know what I mean. And tomatoes can like grow leaves and stuff. Nobody. Okay, nobody. All right, we're gonna let her talk. We're gonna go ahead and let her talk. I'm gonna stop talking now.
He been seen at all, Brian?
He hasn't been seen since I think it was Tuesday of last week. We got some photos of him outside the house here. He's very recognizable with this big beard. And he was outside with his wife, Savannah's sister, Annie, and they were in the car together. But it's now been almost a week. And something else interesting, you mentioned how they the authorities went and retrieved the surveillance video from the gas station and that they were looking for someone. That gas station is a Circle K, and it's right around the corner from Annie's house. It's not close to Nancy's house. It's right around the corner from Annie's house. And it's where it's positioned is where you would have to drive to go from Nancy's house to Annie's house, which I think is really interesting. It's literally
say that again, Brian. Come on, Antin. Go on, say it again. What you say?
It's right around the corner from Annie's house, and it's where it's positioned is where you would have to drive to go from Nancy's house to Annie's house, which I think is really interesting. It's literally like 1 minute away from here.
Oh, really? That's very interesting, don't you think? Nobody? Am I the only one who's picking this up? Me and Christina Okay, see Christina on Twitch. Are we the only ones who are seeing what he just said? Or are we the only ones who smell what The Rock is cooking? Huh? Come on now. Come on. Okay. That's interesting information too, wouldn't you think? But, again, just because they went through that particular Circle K doesn't mean that they were, plenty of cars drive by that Circle K. Doesn't mean that it was, connected. It does not mean that they were driving from this house or anything of that sort. It doesn't mean it was them, right? That's still a possibility. We got to leave that on the table, okay? Okay. Boo, Tommasos. I had to get that out of my system. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'm really. Boo, Tommasos. All right, let's continue. Let's go.
Here's what I want to know. I want to know whether anybody's been asked to give and or has given a polygraph. Not a peep about that. Is that correct? No one's saying a word.
Not a word. I interviewed yesterday a former homicide detective for Pima County who was there for 20 years and is now retired. And it's interesting what you were reporting in the beginning of your show. I mean, he says the same exact thing, that there's been so much turnover there, that it's a mess at the sheriff's office, and that most of the homicide detectives have like 2 years experience. And so he's concerned a lot of the veterans like him have left just because they've been upset with the department for different reasons. And there was a different sheriff and then another sheriff came back, and it's been a mess there. But he was telling me that in his 20 years there, they never once administered a polygraph. That wasn't something that they did as a sheriff's office ever, not even once.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know if now that the FBI is involved, maybe they would be doing that.
I don't.
So again, the lack of experience from local PD says a lot. Like I said, this feels like this is torn out of a script of some movie, out of some true crime movie where it's like, but instead of the sheriff being a man, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like the sheriff is female or some of that sort. And it's like a small town and they don't believe her because, they don't think she could get the job done and get the culprit and get the bad guy because she's a female. You know what I mean? Something stupid like that, right? You've seen that movie before. You've seen that movie before to a certain extent, right? You got the deputy who's like dim-witted, but he's, got the heart of gold, that kind of thing. We've all seen those movies, right? It's kind of quirky, but there's, but it's a whodunit type of situation. We've seen that movie, and that's literally happening in real time. These guys don't have enough experience to know what the hell to do to a big, high-profile case like this. To the point where they think they're done with the crime scene, so they relinquish the crime scene back to the family, so reporters can go in there, contaminate, do all kinds of stuff. Like we're seeing this in real time, guys. All the mess ups. Again, these guys are not fully vetted, fully experienced to handle a case like this. Hopefully, the FBI is knowing what the hell to do. And they're jumping in and doing what they need to do. But we've been seeing 5-0 doing more of the work, local PD doing more of the work than the actual, than what we've been seeing of the FBI. And I'm not saying that they're just sitting around and just barking orders with their feet kicked up. No, I'm not saying that at all. But if you've noticed, a lot of it has been local PD doing their thing. This is bad. The fact that you don't have people properly vetted, properly experienced to do this, crazy. Let's not forget too, we talked about this as well. Remember, after this whole situation, when she went missing, they had a helicopter, or sorry, not a Cessna, that just was grounded. They couldn't even use it. It had a heat signal thing, heat sensors, kind of camera where they can fly around and just see if she's somewhere around, you know what I mean? Out there in the desert or whatnot. They didn't even do that. The damn plane was grounded. People who were supposed to operate the plane, apparently they got into some sort of fight with the sheriff, and there was some administration issues. But at that particular moment, when they could have really used it at the very beginning of the case, they couldn't use it. And it's all coming from leadership and lack of, right? Now, real quick, I want to get the super chat because it just popped over here and I just want to pull this up. So Cookie Crunch, thank you so much for the love. Hi, Pascal. Just wondering, did they ever find the Uber driver that took her to her daughter's house that night? Yes, they did. He may have thought she looks like a quick, easy buck. I don't know. According to the sheriff, during the press conference, this is the reason why I wanted to get this really quick, is because during the press conference, they said that they already interviewed and cleared the Uber driver. So the Uber driver has nothing to do with this. He's been cleared. They just never said anything about Annie, Tommaso, or anybody else yet. They have not cleared any other names that we know of. Yet still, there are no suspects and no persons of interest that we know of yet as well. Very interesting, right? But let's continue on.
No, because while they suggested it was a joint investigation at the Thursday presser, FBI, Pima County, my understanding is it's Pima County running herd on this, that it's their investigation, their running point. And so that may tell us some unfortunate things. Here's the other thing I want to know. The Sunday discovery that Nancy was missing allegedly came down to someone at her church noticing she wasn't there and calling the family, which then sent the family to Nancy's home, which led to the discovery of the crime scene, however it looked. They haven't really told us what was inside the home. The Daily Mail and you also, we talked about this last week, reporting that Nancy Guthrie was actually was no longer attending the church that they said she was, and that in fact she'd been going virtual for the past 5 years since COVID. That she'd been participating in the live stream that this church offers, leading us to ask, how would anybody have noticed that she wasn't on the live stream? Because it's not like a Zoom where you can see people joining. Now, we did actually try to join it this weekend and realize that there's a chat. You can join a chat. So it is possible that somebody was in the chat. Look, maybe it's my own bias.
That'd be insane.
The thought of my mom not only joining a live stream, who's 84, but actually then getting in the church chat during the mass and chatting, like it's an impossibility. Yeah. But maybe Nancy Guthrie was a lot more tech savvy than my 84-year-old mom could be. She had an Apple Watch. So I want to know whether the investigators have tracked down the alleged parishioner who's purported to have made the phone call. Brian, do we know whether that's happened?
It hasn't happened from what we know. And that's been one of the strange things about this is we've all, me and then all of my other colleagues, we all talk about it out on the street. We've all been trying to figure out this church element. Everybody has been to the church. Everybody has talked to the pastor. And the pastor has said that she went to the church, but that she hasn't come back in person since COVID, that she goes virtually, and no one seems to know that she went to another church. And the church over the weekend at their service, the pastor talked about Nancy, and it appears that's the church she goes to. And what I thought was interesting, Megan, is at the last press conference, the sheriff never brought up the church again. It's almost like he said that the first time right after this happened, but then no one ever talks about the church anymore. So I don't know, the sheriff made a lot of weird off the cuff remarks and mistakes. Like, I don't know if that's just something he said initially, and now there's another reason that the family was concerned that has nothing to do with the church. I just don't know.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of actually a yes. That's not actually a yes at all. It's actually kind of disconcerting. And yet another thing that either they do need to do or they've done and he's just not telling us. We don't know. So Brian, what about today? The deadline now for this 5 p.m. $6 million payment is looming. And the Savannah and siblings video from the other night said, we will pay. It said, we'll pay.
Yeah.
But they've had no proof of life. They don't know whether these people actually have their mom. And so do we believe that they're actually going to pay $6 million in Bitcoin? Like, has any law enforcement spoken to this or shed any light on what the next step should be?
Yeah, I mean, Savannah said they will pay. Whether they end up doing it, we don't know. And it's interesting. You mentioned the local affiliate was reporting, I think you said it was 1 million and 6 million. That's a little different than what I've learned. I learned it was 4 million and 6 million. And 4 million was the first deadline on Thursday at 5 p.m. and 6 million is the deadline today. But that was in the first note. And the second note, while we don't know exactly what it says, there are some indications that it, based on what Savannah said in her video, the second note may have alluded to Nancy not being okay. And that's why I'm hearing they're not calling it a ransom note. They're just calling it a note. And there was no demand for payment in the second note. It was just a message to the family. It wasn't like, and you can still pay this amount by this time. So I don't, and also, is there a third note that we just don't know about? But that's the other thing I've been wondering. Maybe they're just not reporting on it yet. And Savannah's video is responding to a third note.
Yeah, that's.
I wonder the same, because some of the messaging is so like controlled and calculated. It almost seems like they're saying something they were. Can we watch the Savannah video one more time? Let's just watch it one more time.
I'm going to skip ahead.
Of hopeful news. We understand. She says, we understand, in a sad, like contemplative way. We beg you. She's begging them now, saying, give us our mother back so we can celebrate with her. Again, that word celebrate sticks out like a sore thumb. And it's the only way we'll have peace, which is another word associated with, I think, people who are, grieving, having a settlement of the grief, even if it's a sad settlement, but just a settlement, like what's happening, and you can be at peace with it. To me, that's what she was telegraphing. But you're right, we don't know what was in the note. Wait, but Brian, the $4 million would make more sense to me than 4 and 6 makes more sense to me than 1 and 6, because I have to tell you, I've had this conversation behind the scenes with a few different people. Let's face it, $1 million is not much for Savannah Guthrie. She can lose that easily and not really even feel it. So like, if that were the initial demand, I think they would have just paid it. They would have just paid it on Thursday. $4 million is that's a lot more.
Yeah, and I'm confident in my reporting. The person who I spoke to saw the note himself. So I'm sure it was 4 million and 6 million. And I can't remember if I talked to you about this last time, but the other thing that was in the first note that was so alarming to the FBI, there's two things. One, the location of the Apple Watch inside Nancy's room was very, very specific. And the other thing is they specifically referenced a damaged, smashed floodlight in the backyard, which has since been removed up on the back of Nancy's house, which is smashed. So those two things were spot on in the first note, which appears to be why they've been taking all of this so seriously.
But Brian, don't you think, like, okay, so the floodlight is visible from the outside. People were crawling all over the property, and especially, Monday. I think the first notes came Tuesday. So you would have just had to see it on sometime Sunday or Monday. Or prior to that, potentially you could have seen it prior to that if you were a contractor taking advantage of the family's pain here and you'd been inside the house. You might know about that floodlight, and you might know where she keeps her Apple Watch at night. The thing that I can't get past is, if I stole somebody and I needed to give proof of life so that I could get millions of dollars, I would ask that person questions that only that person would know the answers to. And I would put that information in my note. Like, information above all would be proof of life, not where, like, who would say where she keeps the Apple Watch or that a floodlight had been damaged as their, it is I've got your person proof.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. You'd think there'd be something more specific, and initially, they really wanted to open these lines of communication. But you'd imagine if there really is a kidnapper, they would be hesitant to do that because, the FBI is trying to track. And I don't know if you knew this, Megan, but we found out through the news director of KOLD, which is where both notes went, that it wasn't submitted through like an email. It came through a news tips form that you fill out on the website of, you know what I mean? Like, you can fill out your name, subject.
Both notes, or just the second one?
Both notes. They went to KOLD at least. I don't know if it's the same with TMZ. So I think that makes it harder to track. And they used, a scrambler for the IP address because it was different IP addresses both times. So if they, I don't know that you can attach a picture that way.
Yeah. Interesting. Hold on.
I know. And I don't even think you need a picture though. Like, if somebody had a relative of yours or anybody or mine or anybody listening we all know certain things they could ask the relative. Like if anybody who I know very well, a family member, needed to prove through a kidnapper that it was them, that they were with the kidnapper, they absolutely could do it with information, with references, with like family jokes. Like it would be easy. And so just the fact that this person has gone with something so weird, like an outside floodlight, and the location of an apple. What is that? That proves to me you've been to the house, and it looks like you've been in the house. But think of the number of contractors an 84-year-old has going through her home. You can do very little as an 84-year-old. She probably has somebody help her change her light bulbs. She definitely has somebody change her air filters. Her air conditioner goes on the fritz. Somebody comes in. The person who may have changed the roof recently, as the neighbor observed. It's like the list is so long. But now we're talking about somebody who's taking advantage of the family's pain and not necessarily the person who's causing it.
Yeah.
Well, or is all this just a sideshow, Megan? I mean, I've been thinking about this all weekend. Is all of this just something that the FBI has to look into and that Savannah and her family have to respond to, because you put yourself in their shoes, just in case, how could you not? What if in the 1% chance it is true, you want to respond, you want to try, but is there a whole nother side of this investigation happening that, like you mentioned at the beginning, we just don't know about? I mean, them coming here to the house, at 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday out of nowhere. The only thing that I'm skeptical about that, though, is that it was these 3 sheriff's deputies who were just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I saw the raid at Nancy's house. I shouldn't say raid, but I saw when the FBI team showed up, it was like insane. I mean, it was a full-on FBI. They're in their special outfits. They're in the fancy vans and the evidence unit, and the tape goes up, and it felt so organized. Here on Saturday night, it was just these 3 deputies. I mean, I hate to say this, but their cars were a little beat up, and they get out and they kind of wobble in. And if this was so serious here, why didn't the FBI come here? Like, there's a lot I can't figure out.
Yeah, so some weird is going on, because we do have another update here too from Brian Enton that I'm going to pull up. There's a short and all that. So give me a second here. Let me just pull it up. But what the hell's going on? What in the actual hell is going on? Because I'm getting a bit confused here too. There's a lot of bouncing back and forth. There's a lot of information. This is frustrating. Let's take a listen.
Hey guys, all right, so there's a new statement from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "We do not have any additional information to release publicly this afternoon. The investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance remains active and ongoing. We understand the significant public interest in this case. However, investigators need time and space to do their work. If and when relevant information becomes available, it will be shared." They say there's going to be no press briefing scheduled right now unless something happens. And then they say many of you observed an active law enforcement presence at the Guthrie residence over the weekend. Yes, we did. That activity will continue tonight and into tomorrow as part of the ongoing investigative process, including the expansion of the search and follow-up on new leads. So that's interesting there.
What new leads? What new leads?
I don't know if we're going to see them coming back out here for the weekend. Yes, we did. That activity will continue tonight and into tomorrow as part of the ongoing investigative process, including the expansion of the search and follow-up on new leads. So that's interesting there. I don't know if we're going to see them coming back out here. This is all part of the investigative process as the search for Nancy expands and new leads come in. To preserve the integrity of this criminal investigation, details of that process are not being released at this time. It's interesting that they say new leads are coming in. So that's kind of the latest. I'm still outside Nancy's house. I'm just in the car, but I'll keep you guys posted.
I mean, okay. So possible new leads. What kind of new leads are we talking about here? What's going on here? You know what I'm saying? What the hell's going on?
Our social media accounts for All Things America reports the story with Martha, who's never boring, starts right now.
Thank you very much, you guys. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum. And of course, this continues to be the story. A reported second ransom deadline issued by Nancy Guthrie's potential abductors would be just 4 hours from right now. A very tight window, if indeed that is a real deadline. Now, TMZ reporting Quote, a Bitcoin account allegedly set up to accept funds in exchange for Nancy was still sitting empty this morning. Law enforcement activity at Nancy's home and her daughter Annie's home happening over the weekend, and Savannah and her family making another heartbreaking plea for their mother.
We received your message.
I mean, what? Hold on. Let's skip ahead. Hold on.
It is entirely possible the person who wrote it gave a new and different Bitcoin address. The Guthrie say they will pay. And if and when that happens, it's not long before the recipient gets their money.
When you want to transfer Bitcoin around the world, it's going to take you anywhere from about 10 minutes to 1 hour, depending upon the amount and the speed in which you've asked for this to go, for it to get from one place to the next place. It's still an open-ended question about whether this is traceable or not. It can be at times, sometimes it's not.
Investigators had a very busy weekend. Sunday afternoon, our Fox flight team shot this video of two members of law enforcement in the back of Nancy Guthrie's home, probing what looked like...
Hold on, guys. I'm pulling up a different one. This is from Jesse Waters. So let's take a look at this.
Posting a new video about the search for her mother just moments ago, about Nancy Guthrie, with the deadline for the second ransom note set to expire in just 2 hours from now.
Struck me in particular in there is the tone she was using. We believe our mother is still out there. We believe our mother is still hearing the prayers coming from around the country and around the world. Now, that is a contrast to the last video message we heard from the Guthrie children. That was a direct message to the kidnappers on Saturday night. And the tone of that, a lot of people interpreted as looking at more of a worst case scenario. Here, very clearly, Savannah Guthrie is saying, we believe, we hope, we have faith that our mother is still out there. And obviously the inference of that is that she will come back to her children at some point. Another point that you have to look at here, in the video message to the kidnapper on Saturday night, Savannah Guthrie concluded that by saying, we will pay. Now, you would assume that if they believe that their mother is out there, is alive, they would have followed up with that promise very quickly and made that payment. Now, we also know from Harvey Levin at TMZ, who received the first ransom note, that the kidnapper or kidnappers promised that upon payment, Nancy Guthrie would be returned to Tucson within a certain time frame. Now, can you look at this new message and believe that they made that payment and then heard nothing? That is one possible scenario. Obviously, with a complete absence of commentary from the sheriff's office and information from the sheriff's office behind us here, which is their right, of course, in this investigation, we are all clutching at straws. We're all trying to read tone and read the tea leaves. But clearly, this was a very desperate message to the wider public from Savannah Guthrie for help in finding her mother. And it does, you have to read it to some extent, at least, Emily, as saying that Savannah Guthrie is losing faith while she's paying tribute to the work of the investigators and law enforcement who are clearly working around the clock. She's perhaps losing faith in any progress in this investigation, despite the work we've seen from them, despite the continual searches over the weekend at Nancy Guthrie's house, at Annie Guthrie's house, the collection of evidence. It would appear that Savannah Guthrie is beginning to believe that this investigation is hitting something of a brick wall, Emily.
Wow. So now I was waiting for him to be done. Now we are at 5. It is 5 o'clock Mountain Time right now as we speak. All right. He finished right when the clock switched over to 5 p.m. It is 5 p.m. We have made the deadline. Okay. The deadline is here. Now the question remains, did they make that payment or not? Okay. Did they make that payment or not? Here's something else. I'm going to just pull this up so you guys can see this too, real quick, because I want to hear the rest of that video too. But these are two different things that they posted. So one, There are no press briefings scheduled at this time. This was 9 minutes ago that they posted this regarding Nancy Guthrie. Should a significant development occur, a press conference will be called, and media will be notified via email and our sheriff account. I guess it's this one, right? The X account. Moving on. Investigators have not identified any suspects, persons of interest, or vehicles connected to Nancy Guthrie. Anyone who believes they have information that may assist investigators is asked to contact 1-800-CALL-FBI or the PCSD non-emergency line at 520-351-4900, or you could call 88-CRIME. Okay? So this is what they put up on X right now. That's what they put up on X. Now, of course, the question is, do they not know? What do they have? Because they said, you just heard from Brian Enton. He said that they're off to they're off to see more information, follow some new leads. What are these new leads? Hopefully these new leads lead them to catching this mother lover or these mother lovers, plural, because I feel like it's not just one person. I think it takes a team to do something like this and do it effectively. Doesn't matter if doesn't matter whether or not she's an immobile 84-year-old woman or not, right? Takes more than just one person to do all this, for sure. I think she was carried out. If she was actually taken from the actual house. Remember that too. So what is going on? It's 5:02 in Arizona right now. Payment should have been made. What's going to happen next? Let's hear a little bit more of this. I'm going to see if there's any breaking news or any lives here covering this right now.
Jonathan, thank you. All right, we'll bring it back to the table for discussion. Greg, your thoughts? You have a lot to say.
Well, I am very experienced in crime, having watched a lot of Dateline and a lot of Forensic Files and Columbo. I'm also aware that our viewers miss the fun of the five, and this is a serious topic. So I've decided to solve the case today.
Yes.
Or tell you how to solve it. Have they given anyone polygraphs? I don't believe they have. I think Savannah Guthrie might want to volunteer to do a poly and say, I just don't want people to speculate that I might be involved. And then what does that do? It puts everyone else in her circle obligated to do a poly. They might have declined to do it before, but if you actually say I'm willing to do it and everybody else decides to do it, great. They're inadmissible in court without an agreement. They're voluntary, but it helps you rule people in and rule people out. So if you decline after the daughter publicly says she's going to do one, that looks different to me. And then you can move beyond the family of that, so be it. But I do think the ransom piece is a ruse because the start and the finish of it don't make any sense. If you really want to get the money, you don't go to TMZ. You don't go to Harvey Levin. You go to the wealthy family who does it behind the scenes, and you may never hear about it. Also, the ending, where do you pay? How do you pay once you make this whole process voluntary? Doesn't make sense. So I think all this is a red herring. And lastly, I would look at the financial piece of this, and I don't mean the ransom. I mean, who needed money and who didn't get money.
Yeah, and I think in part, Dana, Greg is hitting on the part of the helplessness that the family feels, which is in this duration of waiting. How can we help? And many times it's like, just sit by the phone and wait for a call. But to his point about offering a polygraph, the whole point is, what can I do to help the investigation along, to show support in what way? And especially in such a high profile case where the public is watching every move and not only making their own decisions, but also asking too, how can we help? Which, as Savannah just so heartbreakingly said, if you see something, say something.
Right. And when that last video that came out just about an hour ago, it showed the desperation. It's in that final hour. And I don't know if there's anything to read into her doing this video alone. The other videos were with the siblings. Maybe she just felt like she wanted to do this herself to let people know that, let's keep this story alive. Okay, that's another thing that Callahan Walsh said this morning on America's Newsroom that one of the things that happens is people are like, well, we don't have any information here. But we want to keep her in the news. We want to see if we can get somewhere. But at some point, there are in missing persons cases, like it might fall off the front page, or at least below the fold. So that's also another thing that maybe they are trying to do. I think all of us feel for them deeply. It's not like they don't have a lot of resources all being put towards this. Some things feel very strange, like the Bitcoin ransom, but maybe not the Bitcoin ransom, but actually will take dollars. And we also interviewed somebody today that does like private kidnap situations where you never see it in the press. And those, sometimes the family does say, okay, we will pay, and you never hear about it. This is so different. And I pray there is a great outcome here. On Saturday, when she said, bring her home so we can celebrate with her, I parsed that language. I don't know anything. I'm not Columbo. Or what am I doing? But that language seemed significant to me. And maybe when this is solved, and hopefully solved in a good way, we can find out what all of that meant.
Yeah, because at the time, I was thinking, yes, how it could be meant in certain ways. And then we had an analyst on our air that said it could be sort of signaling, we will not seek revenge. It will only be a joyful return, and therefore we will not come after you, captors, allegedly. I mean, there's so much that you can speculate, Jesse, because we don't know very much. What do you make, though, of the sheriff's department saying this will be our last press conference until we have a reason to update you? And since then, they have been, as Jonathan Hunt put it, radio silent.
Well, I don't totally trust the sheriff's department because they either don't know anything or they're pretending to not know anything. It does feel like they're not being completely honest and upfront with what they know. And maybe that's strategic, but it makes people question a lot of things, especially their competence, or question other things like who else was involved. But I agree with Dana. Something changed between Saturday and today. You just look at the language. You received your message and we understand. What does understand mean? We beg you to return, Mom, so we can celebrate. Interesting language again. She's very valuable to us. I don't know if the FBI negotiators are telling them to use this language. I don't know if this is language that has been elicited from some of these alleged kidnapping letters. I don't know. But it seems coded. And then you fast forward until Monday. Before she was talking to the kidnappers, and now she's just talking to the entire country. And she's saying she was taken. You have no idea where. We have no leads. And this is this big hour of desperation, but there is still hope. And it makes you think, are they getting and responding to different messages? Are some of the messages real? Are some of them hoaxes? They don't know what's real or not. And so you also wonder, are they being psychologically tortured? Is this maybe not about the money? Does someone have it in for the Guthrie family or Savannah Guthrie? Because the way this whole thing has gone down, it's so not the traditional way you deal with the kidnapping. You get proof of life, you get the money, and it's over. None of that has gone to that pattern. And
Facts.
so
that's facts.
Then they do a sister search. This is like what? The third search of the sister's house at a very strange time. They do it at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. I mean, it's dark. I mean, why would you do that then? And they're taking photographs inside the garage. They're bringing this device again. They call it the Celebite, where you extract data from iPhones and computers. Wasn't that done already? Why are they bringing these devices again? And now they're searching the septic system. Was something flushed? Is there something in there? None of this makes any sense. And I think we should have some answers in about 2 hours when this deadline comes out.
Harold, with our deepest appreciation and sensitivity to your personal relationship with a family, what do you make of, as Jesse's saying, the sort of use and not of social media and outreach? You know, when you sort of see these situations and think about, I would be screaming from the nearest social media just all day, every day, where's my mom? Where's my mom? And it seems clearly that there's guidance occurring that they're following in the interest of preserving the caliber and the credibility of perhaps their negotiations. I mean, none of us know anything, but what do you make of that? We've only heard from them really these couple times.
I don't know much more. And I have to tell you, I'm just going to heed her advice. to stay in prayer about it. For those who, what I heard also, I think, Jesse, everybody's touched on it. Whomever is responsible for this heinous act or heinous acts might not be in the Tucson area, may be in other cities and places that around the country, for that matter, even outside of the country. I have the same questions that many around the table have. I think there are many, many unknowns. Do we have proof of life? Do we know this dollar amount? Are we to trust that dollar amount being what it is? Will they send them money? I think these are questions on everyone's minds. But I take her at her word, and she seemed, her hope and her spirit and her mood is what I think is sustaining a lot of us as we pray for them, as we hope for them. And I can only say to her and her family, her husband and her siblings, to stay as strong as you can over the next few hours.
What I want to know is where did they get the sheriff's statement? Because I'm trying to find the actual statement itself, and I haven't found it anywhere. That's why I've been like kind of quiet, because I'm looking everywhere because I want to read it for myself and read it here with you guys. But I haven't found the actual statement. I went to their X and to their Facebook and found nothing. Where's this statement coming from? You know what I'm saying?
And perhaps the next few days, as we seemingly come to some sort of a point where, or at least some sort of definitive point that might have been set in one of the notes. But I watched all weekend, Jesse, like you did, the searches in all these different places. And I imagine the FBI is now in charge of the investigation, which may explain why they're going back over some of the things that the locals may have done. But again, there's so many unknowns here. And the only thing I can do is just try to heed everything that Savannah said here in this last video, which I know we all will do.
Yeah, they are indeed covered in prayer. All right, we're going to bring in Joshua Ritter now in Tucson. Josh is a former federal prosecutor and present criminal defense attorney. Josh, what are you hearing down there with your boots on ground?
We're not hearing much, and that's the unfortunate part about it. It is creating an atmosphere of anticipation. We're now less than 2 hours away from when this deadline is supposed to take place. And also, I'll echo the words of Savannah, that there's a feeling of desperation. People want to get answers, and it doesn't seem like we're getting anything. We're certainly not getting any answer from law enforcement. And now it sounds like we're not even getting any further communications from the kidnappers, to the point that Savannah felt that she had to make this statement. And
excuse me. I think that, yeah, she is absolutely like desperate. And of course, it's 13 minutes. 13 minutes after, you know what I mean? 13 minutes after this whole situation. And, after this deadline, I keep wondering what's going to happen. You know what I mean? What's going to happen? But Auntie Candy, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it, and thank you so much. I'm gonna pull that statement up here because I want us to see it for ourselves as well. All right. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Oh, okay. So Mama Mia, ha. Thank you so much for the question. Okay, so just to make it abundantly clear, because you just asked, can you speak on like what the deadline means? The deadline means if they don't meet that deadline, if they do not pay the money that they are asking for, the $6 million in Bitcoin, then they say that Nancy will be unalived, for lack of a better term, that she will lose her life. They said you have till Thursday to pay $4 million in Bitcoin. $4 million in Bitcoin. All right? You have that opportunity. Excuse me. You have that opportunity. If you do not make that time, you have till Monday. But the price has gone up. Now it will be $6 million. You have to pay it by 5 p.m. today, Monday. It's Monday. It is 5:15 p.m. in Arizona right now as we speak. So, what's going to happen? Because they said if they don't pay that $6 million by 5, she's a goner, for lack of a better term. With all due respect, they said it's a wrap. close the curtain on her, that kind of thing. So the question is, are they paying the price, right? Are they paying what they are demanding? Hold on, let me pull this up so you guys can see this today too as well. This is from media because I want you guys to see the statement as well. So it says, we just received the following message from from the sheriff's office. Good afternoon, media partners. Today, we do not have any additional information to release publicly this afternoon. The investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance remains active and ongoing. We understand the significant public interest in the case. I'm just reading. This is literally what Brian Enton just read, but I want to read it again, okay? And so that we can see it in written form, okay? We understand the significant public interest in the case. However, investigators need time and space to do their work. If and when relevant information becomes available, it will be shared. Briefings/interviews. There are no press briefings scheduled at this time. Nanos is not conducting one-on-one interviews and remains the sole department spokesperson. So he probably is writing this himself. Moving on. Should a significant development occur, a press conference will be called and you will be notified via email or through their X account. Investigation. Many of you observed an active law enforcement presence at the Guthrie residences, both of them over the weekend. That activity will continue tonight and into tomorrow as part of the ongoing investigative process, including the expansion of the search and follow-up on new leads. This is all part of the investigative process as the search for Nancy expands and new leads come in. They're following up on new leads, okay? To preserve the integrity of this criminal investigation, details of that process will not be released at this time. Surprise, surprise. Moving on. Ransom. The FBI is handling all aspects related to any ransom note or notes or communications involving the Guthrie family. Any inquiries regarding this matter should be directed to the FBI Public Affairs Office. And then, of course, they said, if you know anything, say something. If you see something, say something, please call. You can either call 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can call, like I said before, 520-351-4900 or 88-CRIME. So, yeah. So the same thing that they said. We're following new leads. You're going to see police presence in, outside the Guthrie house, both Guthrie residences over the next day or two. That's what they're saying so far. But here's the thing. That doesn't automatically mean, this doesn't mean good things. We still don't know where she is, and we don't know if the Bitcoin has been paid or not, right? So very, 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 very interesting. Hold on. Oh, wow. And then something else from the FBI. Interesting. And here is what we just received from the FBI. Okay, finally, the FBI is starting to talk. For more than a week, FBI agents, analysts, and professional staff have worked around the clock to reunite Nancy Guthrie with her family. The FBI is not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in this case at this time. So it's still up in the air, y'all. Additional personnel from FBI field offices across the nation continue to deploy to Tucson, so more are coming. We are currently operating a 24-hour command post that includes crisis management experts, analytics support, and investigative teams. But we still need the public's help. How can we help, though? Someone has one piece of information that can help us bring Nancy home. We need that person to share what they know. Please call us at 1-800-CALL-FBI. But here's the thing. How do we know what they like? Who's that someone? Give us a little bit more information. How about that? Can you give us a little bit more information other than just, oh, yeah, you know, we know one of you knows something. Only you can stop forest fires. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. You see what I'm saying? Thanks, Crime McGruff. Like, what's going on? Smokey the Bandit? You know what I mean? Like Smokey the Bear or whatever the hell it's called. Smokey the Bear and Crime McGruff. Like, what the hell's that? Only you can prevent forest fires. Okay. Okay. So hopefully we find out something here soon. Yeah, they said someone. Yeah. Only one of you out there knows something. No, there's more than just one. There's more than just one. Just a heads up, guys, I will be on Court TV tonight, chopping it up with Vinny Politan on Vinny Politan Investigates tonight at around 8 p.m. So 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just so you guys know. Talking about this particular case, just so you guys know. So I'll be back on Court TV tonight to wrap with Vinny Politan and other amazing individuals talking about this case. All right. Just so you guys know. Always a pleasure and always an honor to be on the show. But yeah, so I'll be on to talk about all the craziness that's going on here. Because there is a lot of craziness. I'm trying to see if there's any other, other updates. I'm going to go over to is it here? Maybe not. Nope. I thought I had it. Let's just go over here. Going back over here for a second. So, I will say, excuse me. I will say that it will be safe to say that I may be back on a little bit later on tonight after Court TV, after my appearance on Court TV, because there will most likely be some sort of police presence going on. If the police presence that's going on, by the way, if the police presence that's going on in, tonight, outside of, in and outside of the Guthrie family's homes, then I most likely would be live to watch those things and see what's going on. You know what I mean? But we'll see. Okay. Some ain't right. Some's definitely not right. What's going on here? I don't know. What happened here? I have no earthly clue. I wish I did know. There's so many theories, but I'm trying to keep my theories grounded. I know a lot of other theories have just gone like crazy, but I'm trying to keep mine, fairly grounded, right? Let's see. Hold on. I'm just checking some local news or media just to see if they've done anything. Yeah, like TMZ has already written a letter or written an article basically saying the final deadline to pay that ransom has now expired, and there's still no clue, at least publicly, as to her whereabouts. Then that was at 5 p.m. Arizona time, so that's literally 25 minutes ago. That deadline was Monday. And just a few hours ago, Savannah obviously recorded and posted that video, which we already saw. We've already seen it a bunch. Okay. 2 nights ago, Savannah and her two siblings did another video basically saying that they would pay the $6 million. Now the question is, did they pay that ransom? And if they did, then where is Nancy? Right? I think that's something that we all want to know. Where is Nancy now? If it was paid. If it wasn't paid, then all we could do is pray, right? 1 second. Let us see here. Yeah, I just read the statement, Auntie. Thank you so much, Auntie. Yeah, I just read it out loud. I just read it out loud just a little bit ago, guys. Yeah, all of these, I'm sure all these residents are just annoyed by this, for sure. But let's take a look at this article here. Yeah, what is going on? What's going to happen now? Real talk, what's going to happen now? Because here's the other thing, too. What if this is not a kidnapping? What if she was never taken? Not like that. What if she was unalived or whatever the hell it is? You know what I mean? How are we going to find that out? How are we going to figure that out? By the fact that if let's just say they don't pay it, how are we going to figure out how they're going to find this, right? Aria, can I help you with the pacemaker situation as people are reporting different things? What are they reporting? Now, just so you guys know, okay, real quick before we go into this article that I have prepped. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are saying that it got disconnected. Her pacemaker got disconnected from the phone. Therefore, she died because the pacemaker stopped working. No, it's not like that at all. The pacemaker's Bluetooth kind of connection got cut off because it's not in the same distance. It's not within the same range as her phone. Because imagine if she wanted to, like, for example, like go take a dip in a pool and she has her phone all the way over there on the other side of the pool. And it's a public pool. It's not like a personal pool. We're talking about a public pool. You mean to tell me she's going to go into the middle of the pool and just croak because she's not next to her phone? That's just insane. The only reason why the pacemaker disconnected was because it was connected to the phone, not because she died, not because her heart stopped working. In fact, that piece of information would be seen in the phone. It would be like, like a charge happened or something of that sort if her heart stopped. You see what I'm saying? So just so you guys know, the pacemaker got disconnected from the phone. It does not mean that she passed away. Not at all. The phone was not in the same vicinity as her pacemaker. That's it. Okay? Just so you know that, just so everybody knows that. And of course, if there was a charge, if it like tried to, help recharge her body or recharge her heart or get her heart get back going again or whatever the heck it is, that would be seen in the phone. That would show if what happened to her, if that was to happen to her and it was within range of the phone, that would pick up that data. So then they'd be able to see in that data, oh, there was a charge right there, right around 2:28 when she disappeared. So either something bad happened here or, you know what I mean? or she got jolted back to life, whatever it may be, right? So that's what it is. But let's get into this, all right? So Nancy Guthrie investigation takes dramatic new focus as clock runs out on ransom deadline. I truly think they think it's a fugazi and they may not pay it. I don't think they're going to pay it. I don't think they believe it. I think it may be a fugazi to them. Okay? It just might be a fugazi. Hold on. Let me check one thing right quick. One thing real quick. Oh. Interesting. Real quick. Thank you so much, Messi, for sending this to me. Interesting. What is this? So latest on Nancy Guthrie investigation here. So FBI says there has been no continued communication with suspected kidnappers. What happens now? Deep dive. We're going to look at that here in just a minute, but I want us to look at this article since we're already here. Let's just dive into this really quick, and then we're going to take a look at that here in just a minute, okay? Thank you, Messi. I appreciate you. So, as the Monday deadline for payment for the ransom demanded for the return of Nancy Guthrie passes without proof of life or consequence, her family and investigators must face the cruel potential reality that this entire line of inquiry was or has been a fat ass hoax, right? Former SWAT team Captain Shriard, the captain, okay, former captain, all right, told Daily Mail, sorry, I butchered his name, but moving on, the deadline passing just tells law enforcement we need to close this particular path of investigation and continue putting efforts and resources and assets into the ones that might be more viable. In other words, we need to stop looking over here on the left and we need to be starting looking towards trying to find her and see where she could be. Because let's be real, they have not even bothered, I feel, to really look out in that vast desert that is surrounding her home. Let's be real. They have not done a damn thing. And I'm not talking about FBI. I am talking about local PD. They walked in that room. They walked in that house and they said, well, looks like there was a tussle and it looks like she was taken. That's exactly what it is. No. We don't need to go outside in the hot air and get all dehydrated and sunburnt out here looking for a body. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on getting everybody scared and worried about this poor woman being taken the entire time. And then, oh, well, she was taken out of her bed. Don't you understand? But no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. No, it was a turn of phrase. It was turn of phrase, my friends. I didn't mean it like that. Like what? They didn't waste any time. They did not spend any time going out there and, searching the areas. They didn't do that until they came back and started a whole crime scene all over again when they already broke down the crime scene in the first doggone place. You see what I'm saying? Like at this point, they need to go all the way back to ground zero. God forbid this turns into a situation where let's just say she walked out. Mental health issue. I doubt it, but let's just say, God forbid it goes all the way down to that all of a sudden, all over again. All of this to find out that nothing happened, nothing sinister happened. You know what I'm saying? Imagine that. That would be knuckin' futz. All right? I said it, getting it out of my system. Moving on. This particular former SWAT captain was speaking as the clock ran out on 5 p.m., on the 5 p.m. local time deadline. That was the supposed kidnappers had issued along with a reported demand for $6 million in Bitcoin. Okay. With no direct line of communication established between the Guthrie family and the people who claiming that they took Nancy, her NBC star daughter, Savannah, took to Instagram at the last hours, trying to see if the public can say anything at all. The family were, she said, in an hour of desperation. On Saturday, she had posted a video in which she promised the faceless abductors, we will pay. So this director also says that the family must face the fact that their desperation has been exploited by opportunists who know nothing of Nancy's whereabouts and have wasted law enforcement's time and the family's emotions. He also said everyone has questioned the legitimacy and authenticity of these ransom notes. And this just tells us that, okay, this wasn't real. The veteran FBI special agent Leasing, based in Arizona, agreed, suggesting that the fact that the notes were sent to media outlets rather than negotiators of family members was an early red flag to those experienced in such matters. But here's the thing. From my understanding, maybe this was the only way that they could reach out to them. But again, like I said, I don't know. I'm getting the vibe that this is fake news too. I'm getting the vibe that this is whoever did this, these ransom notes, is just going out of their way to try to mess with people, innocent lives, so that they can make $6 million. I don't know, guys. I'm vexed because the part of me that's like, maybe it is real, but then there's another part of me that's like, I don't know if it is real. It may not be real at all. It may just be one big fugazi, but I don't know. Let's take a look at this. Whoops.
Appreciate all the support. I've been seeing all your messages. Thank you so much. Please click to subscribe. Of course, I'm still here in Arizona, in Tucson, outside Nancy Guthrie's house. The mystery just seems to deepen. I mean, there's a lot of everybody's asking me. I mean, friends who I haven't heard from in like years are texting me, what's going on with the case? I mean, my mom is texting me constantly. What do you know that we don't know? I mean, honestly, it's still very mysterious about what is actually going on behind the scenes and what police may know and what they may not know. And is there a possibility that police literally don't know anything and that they're following up on different leads, but they have nothing concrete? That is possible, especially after what Savannah Guthrie said in her latest video that she just posted to Instagram, asking the public for help. Listen to what Savannah said.
Hi there, everybody. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
So pretty clear that Savannah is saying that they still need help finding Nancy. And she said, we are in an hour of desperation and we need your help. She said it several times. We need your help. And it seemed more genuine, should I say? I mean, not that Savannah's ever not genuine, but you could tell that some of those first videos that looked almost more like hostage videos with her and her siblings, that they were very much crafted in part by the FBI. And it seemed like this video was more just off the cuff and sort of the Savannah Guthrie that we all feel like we know from the Today Show and just from her social media. It seemed more just like her and genuine. And the fact that she's saying they need help makes you wonder where things stand. Of course, there have been these letters that have come in, which I've talked about, and I'll kind of just go back for you and give you a little bit of the backstory before. I'm going to talk to retired FBI agent Steve Moore in a minute, which you're going to hear. And it was a really interesting conversation, especially what he had to say about the search that we saw happening at Annie Guthrie's house, which is Savannah's sister. So that's coming in a second. But let me just go back to the letters, tell you everything that I know. First letter we found out about Tuesday of last week. I believe that Savannah was told about it based on sources that I have on Monday night of last week. And in that letter, that is when there were the specifics about things at the house, the Apple iWatch and the floodlight. And also there was the ransom. There was pay us $4 million by Thursday at 5 p.m. Or pay us $6 million by Monday. Those were the deadlines. Then came the second letter at the end of the week, which we know went to KOLD TV, which the news director was very clear to say is not a ransom letter. There was no demand for money in that letter, from what I have been told. But there was a very specific message in that letter that related back to the previous letter which sort of connected the two. And I am told it was a grim message, which could explain why Savannah Guthrie was just so sad and said, "We've received your this in her message before this most recent one. In this, remember this message. Look at this message.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay."
So that was clearly, or at least appears to be, Savannah reacting to the second note that came in. And now the tone seems to have changed again, which makes me wonder, is there a possibility?
I need to look at this again. Hold on. Sorry, guys. And I'm still waiting for a video from I would like to see a video from Annie. I'm just going to say it. I mean, we've already seen the brother, and Savannah, Cameron and Savannah. I just really, just to have a little peace of mind, like a tiny bit of peace of mind, like I said, I don't know who did what. I'm side-eyeing everybody. Okay. I'm side-eyeing everybody, but I just want to see that clip one more time.
This most recent one. In this, remember this message. Look at this message.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
So that was, and now the tone seems to have a possibility that these ransom notes are unrelated to what's really going on here, that these ransom notes are just some jerk somewhere trying to extort money out of the Guthries, and that what really happened to Nancy may have nothing to do with whoever's writing the ransom letters. I think that is a possibility based on everything that I'm hearing. I don't think that that's for sure. They wouldn't have made Savannah create those emotional videos if they didn't believe that there was a possibility that those letters were legit. But just based on Savannah's most recent video, asking the public for help, it makes me wonder, based on all these other things that I know, if the ransom letters have nothing to do with the actual disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. And they still may. They still may.
I mean, they still may, but I think the only way we're going to see if that's actually true or not is if we see a payment made, and then, of course, seeing if she turns up. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about her turning up alive. I just don't know. I just don't know. The question remains, did they make the payment? Did they pay to get mama home? Right? And I think that's the one thing we all want to know. We'll find out here soon. Let me grab some of these super chats here really quick, because there's a lot. There's a lot of them. Holy cow. So I'm gonna try to shave some, knock some of these out really quick, okay? But yeah, I mean, the question is, where could she be? Where could she be? Who did this? It just doesn't make sense to me, guys. It just doesn't make sense to me. 1 second. I'm just checking one spot here real quick before we go into all of this. Yeah, well, there's no updates. No updates about anybody or a payment made or anything of that sort. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, that's so strange. So strange. A lot of what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? I think we're all wanting to know that, right? But Parky Posey, thank you so much. Profiling with Pat Brown, great video on this topic. I will take a look when I get a second. Ellie, thank you so much for the love. Bring Nancy home ASAP. No more bull. Okay, just return our loving Nancy, please. Yes. Let's get her home, right? And all the other people that are missing right now, right? That haven't gotten really any light under the sun. Let them all come back home, right? Let them all come back home, safe and alive. Happy days. Thank you so much. There must be other buildings on the street that have ring cams that saw a vehicle come and go around that time. There must have been. Remember, though, those streets are pitch black. So they might not have caught anything really except for like headlights. But remember, they were looking at like Circle K's and other gas stations as well. So if that's the case, they might be zeroing in on at least a vehicle of some sort. But they're not saying that they are zeroing in on a vehicle of interest either. They're like, we're not looking at a car. We're not looking at people. We ain't got nothing. It's like, wow, you really ain't got nothing, or you don't want us to know nothing until, surprise, surprise, you just catch somebody, right? And somebody doing a perp walk. That's kind of what I'm feeling, right? That's the vibe I'm getting. Zani, thank you. Zoni or Zani, Pride, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you. Crisis, what's up? There are 27 flock cameras and ALPRs on Ina Street, Orange Grove Road, and River Road. The only 3 streets to and from Nancy's house. So they must have gone up. Thank you so much for that information, Crisis. So they must have gone up, gotten that footage, and they're combing through all that, because there's no way, if a car left with her in it, there's no way that this car would not get detected, would not get caught on camera of any kind. That would be absolutely insane, right? Kimchi, thank you so much. Oh, kimchi's delicious, by the way. Kimchi, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Ellie, thank you so much for gifting a membership. In fact, I think you gifted another one. Thank you so much. And Jeanne, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. And for those of y'all who just became new members, a third, I'm sorry, you gifted 3. Thank you. Thank you, Ellie. I really do appreciate that. All I ask for you guys who just became new members, pay it forward. Open the door for somebody. Do something nice for somebody. You know what I mean? It's those small little niceties that just keep the world turning, okay? Keep the world turning. What is it? Bad Bunny said it last night, or he had a banner. He said the only thing more powerful, what did he say? The only thing more powerful than hate is love, or something like that. The only thing that could beat hate is love, or something like that. I forgot what he said, but it was really nice. It was a really nice saying. I was like, yeah, I like that. All right. But thank you so much for gifting all those, Ellie. I really do appreciate it. Pay it forward, guys. Just do the right thing. Be nice. Be kind to each other. We need that more than ever now. Thank you so much for the love. They'll bring in those who can intercept the transfer. See location. Kidnappers see they have money, and then release. But they they really have nothing. Catfished. I think they might be getting catfished. Yeah, I think they're getting hoaxed. Yeah, I think so. I wish it wasn't the case, but this is the vibe I'm getting right now. Okay. Ooh. I'm going to look at that in a second. Thank you, Messi. Thank you. Claudia, thank you so much. What if the kidnapper is someone the sister-in-law owed money to? Maybe you meant the brother-in-law, Claudia? The kidnapper may be somebody that the brother-in-law or the son-in-law. I see what you're saying. the son-in-law, sorry, that the son-in-law owed money to, and that that person is interested in getting his money back regardless, son-in-law could have arranged access. That's possible too. I mean, I have not heard anything about him like owning money to some sort of loan shark or like, you know, having a gambling problem or anything of that sort. I haven't heard anything of that sort. Not yet, at least, you know. So if that is true, that would be very, very interesting if that was the case, right? Happy Days, thank you so much for the love. If you had Savannah's income, would you hire a private investigator knowing that cops have limited resources? If not, why not? I would hire the F out of one of the best that money could buy, without question. Without question, I'd be like, let's go. How much? I don't care. I don't care. Just bring her home. That's all I give a damn about. Yeah, I mean, if I had that kind of money, best that money could buy. In fact, I'd probably get more than just one, and I have them work at the same damn time. Okay? Nicole B, thank you so much for the love. Pig vomit, consensually let them search the house too. That is true. That's a good point. We've seen that happen numerous times. Yeah, go ahead. Search through whatever you want. It's all good. And then you find out all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's a good point. Deborah, thank you so much. I want to know if Annie is on the spectrum. Good question. I don't know. That is the feeling I get from her appearance. I want more evidence before Reno. I'm willing to throw before Reno and willing to throw the under the bus. I want more evidence before Reno. I don't know. This last sentence was weird, but I don't know if she's on the spectrum. I don't. I don't know. I just think that she might be eccentric, you know. But that's about it. We'll see. Miss Rue, thank you so much for gifting one membership. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Love 7. Thank you so much. This is beginning to feel like Gone Girl, in my opinion. Wow. Good call. I mean, I'm hoping that it's not some fake staged thing for drama's sake. Good God, I hope not. Like, we don't need another Carly Russell. Like, you know what I mean? And another Pippi. What was her first name? I'm forgetting her name, but you get who I'm talking about. Lauren Pippi, something like that. We don't need another one of thems. Please. We're good. We're seriously good on it. Baby Gator, thank you so much for the love. Sheriff's statement equals we don't know a damn thing. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Paige, thank you so much. The son-in-law. Yeah. I think a lot of people are starting to Sherry Pippi. Papini. Sherry Papini. Yep. Papini. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Dear Dana, thank you. When somebody went to check on her, was the door locked or no? Did they say? That's a good question. They never said anything. See what I'm saying? There's a lot of information that they've held from the general public. Why? Because they're buttholes. Let's look at this. Grace, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate the super sticker. Ride, what's up, bro? Fox is the worst. They were literally sued $730 million for being fake news in court and said they are entertainment. Yep. Jesse is the worst of them all. Well, honestly, there's a lot of places that are doing a lot of coverage on this. We're looking at everything. All right. Because honestly, we could play CNN. People have problems with CNN. We could even play News Nation. People got problems with News Nation. You can play stuff on Court TV. Everybody got a problem with that. So we play everything here. Okay. We try to keep it equal as best as we can. All right. But let's continue on. D, thank you so much for the love. Life insurance policies stop payout, expire age 85. Interesting. Would that be a reason to do? Interesting. I mean, she just turned 84. Her birthday was just a few weeks ago, days before she got kidnapped. So that would be interesting, right? Deborah, thank you so much again. I don't Blake's anyone would take her across. Okay, I don't think anyone would take her across the border for the same reasons I wouldn't fly. Too risky. I have CHF. We pee a lot. So I don't see people driving a far distance either. Yeah, I feel like the person is in the area, Deborah. That's what I think. I truly think I agree with that one thing that Harvey Levin said. I believe that they're still in the area. Where? I don't know. But I do think that they're not super far away. Reed, thank you so much. Just communicated with the FBI. My friend in Cali could help them out with this. We'll see what happens. Oh, that's what's up. That's amazing. Bring Nancy home. Hey, if they can contribute and maybe help and save the day or help them get closer to finding Nancy, that's fantastic. Hold on. Grateful. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much. P.S. I know you're just using the tools available. Yes, Ride. Thank you so much for that clarification. Thank you. And thank you for understanding. Okay. Reed, again, thank you so much. Communicated to Sheriff, hoping a forward is made. Yeah, that would be awesome. Get people connected. Get as many resources as we possibly can. Chef Ava, welcome to the family. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Aria Dakota, thank you so much for becoming a member. And Teresa, thank you so much for becoming members. Welcome to the family, you three. And just like these three, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the support. P&W, thank you so much for the love. Wait a minute. If Bitcoin is cryptocurrency, why would they also request it as USD, American dollars? No matter what form of currency is deposited, doesn't it all turn into crypto? That is telling. Interesting. I don't know about that. I don't cryptocurrency. You know what I mean? But that is a good question to ask, right? Interesting. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. But from my understanding, you could still see, it's still in American dollars, if I'm correct, right? So I don't know. That's a very good question. Very, very good question. Shars, thank you so much for the love. Brian has a new video with a message from the sheriff. Yes, I just played that already. But if there's a new message, I will take a look, though, real quick, just to make sure, because you never know. Anything's possible here. Let's see. Let's see here real quick. That's so strange. Let's see. Shorts. Yeah, I mean, I've already read what the FBI has already said in a statement. The sheriff we already heard from Brian Enton say that. So we're just going to continue on. All right. But we got another one. Where did it go? Where the heck did it go? Okay. So something else just came out. Excuse me. So apparently, let's see about this. Trending topics or trending politics. FBI uncovers trove of unseen data from cameras on Nancy Guthrie's property. Ooh, interesting. What is, this whole thing. Who was better, Kid Rock or Bad Bunny? Let's move on from that. So federal investigators are now sifting through a deep trove of digital data gathered from the Tucson home of Nancy Guthrie and nearby residences as the search for the missing mother of today's show, Savannah Guthrie, enters a critical phase. The FBI is analyzing information pulled from home security systems, smart devices, and other connected technology in the quiet Catalina Foothills neighborhood where the 84-year-old vanished overnight more than a week ago. The digital sweep comes as visible evidence at the home, at the home, continues to raise troubling questions. So Fox News Digital previously reported that a security camera mounted on the exterior of Guthrie's home was as recently as Friday morning, had been removed from its wall bracket on Monday, by Monday, while investigators continued searching the property. Even when the cameras failed to capture video of a suspect, investigators can still extract what law enforcement refers to as unseen data, background information logged by devices that never triggers an alert to the homeowner. So home security systems may not notify users when movement appears insignificant, but the technology can still record timestamps, motion patterns, and signal interruptions that help reconstruct a timeline, according to the cyber guy. So cameras facing the Guthrie house right now show very little activity, but I promise you there's an enormous amount of activity going on the digital side. This is what the cyber guy said. Authorities believe that the digital footprint could prove crucial in narrowing the window of her disappearance. So the Pima County Sheriff's Department previously released a timeline showing a series of disruptions in the early morning hours of February 1st. According to the investigators, the doorbell camera disconnected at 1:47 a.m. Motion was detected at 2:12 a.m. and her pacemaker stopped syncing, not stopped working, but stopped syncing with the Apple devices at 2:28 a.m. Officials have cautioned that the surveillance system detected motion only and did not record the video, leaving open the possibility that an animal could have triggered the alert. Still, the clustering of digital disruptions has fueled concern that Guthrie did not leave her home voluntarily. Investigators have repeatedly said there are no named suspects or persons of interest, even as the case has drawn national attention and federal resources. The FBI is now assisting the Pima County Sheriff's Department alongside Border Patrol tactical units, such as the search expands beyond traditional grounds efforts. So what's interesting, okay, what's interesting, and this is what's weird, because they say blood was previously observed in the walkway outside the residence, and investigators have confirmed signs of forced entry. That is massive. This is from another place. I don't know how reliable this article is or this news source is, but at the same time, you are hearing from this news source too, saying investigators have confirmed signs of forced entry. Remember what Nano said in the press conference? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. The forced entry? There's no proof of forced entry. No one said anything about that. Where did you get that information? When we got it from his funky ass. I'm gonna say it like I want to say it like I see it. Okay, we got it from him. But you see right here, signs of forced entry, right? Her phone, medication, wallet, vehicle, all found at the home. So clearly something's up. Clearly something is up. So whatever they can do, whatever this cyber guy is doing, hopefully he can find something there, because you never know. There might have been only one person throughout that whole place. Maybe they find something digitally that they could say, oh yeah, it looks like there's only one person there. There was only one person inside that house. And what if they were going to drop off all those things over there, make the place look, stage the place, take the phone, leave her belongings, make the place look like it's all in disarray, drop a few droplets of blood on the front stoop of her home. You see what I'm saying? And then close the garage, or, and then leave. Bust open the front door or the back door, whatever it is nowadays. Okay. Whatever they're saying is the front door or the back door that was forced entry. We don't know. But maybe they did something like that, right? It could be staged. And maybe by them going and doing some background information through the cameras and all that, maybe they can find out more through doing just that. But we'll see. We will definitely see. Okay. But guys, it's crazy because we're now, like, it's been It's been well over an hour now since the deadline. The question still remains. What's going to happen here? What's going on here? Does this mean that did they pay the ransom or not? Now, trust me, if there's commotion, if there's things going on tonight, after my appearance on Court TV, I will be back on. If there's stuff going on, I will be back on to discuss these things with you guys. This is also pretty wild and scary, and I'm hoping that, she just gets dropped off tonight. Maybe they pay it and she gets dropped off tonight. I'm really, really hopeful for it. But it doesn't sound like FBI is really doing anything, anything about it. I think that's kind of the situation. Like they said, FBI has not continued any communication. There has been no communication continued with those kidnappers. So this could very well just be somebody just hoping that this family would be desperate enough to hand over $6 million in just Bitcoin. But we'll see what happens here, guys. I'm keeping an eye on this, but I will be on Court TV in just a little while. So that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really means a lot. Please be sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that like button, please. Like. Hit that subscribe button. Don't worry. If anything's going on, I'm going to be back here to look at those things, cover those things with you guys live, because I'm sure there will be some commotion or things going on at both houses tonight. So I'll be watching. I'll be keeping an eye on it. So hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Stay safe out there, and I will see you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.